What's up, everybody? This is the Death Metal Podcast Collector's Edition. So tonight we're gonna spotlight a couple cool people and a couple hardcore collectors like myself. And then what we're gonna do tonight is show some cool stuff from people's collections, basically. Which might include anything here. Somebody might pull out a body bag. I have no idea. So basically, tonight Death Metal Podcast show will just be dedicated towards collecting and people that collect stuff. Records, tapes, flyers, 7 inches, posters, photos. Fun stuff that you might have gotten from friends or through the internet or like mostly physical stuff though. That maybe you got through like a mail, like from a foreign country or something. So tonight is a pretty impromptu as usual, unscripted death metal podcast. Nothing is for sale on this. This is just us showing stuff and just building a conversation with the chat and just talking about metal. So I have two guests on too. And we'll just do the little roll call. What's up, everybody? What's up, Sick Nick? Depeche Commode. What's up, Zulima? Zulima? Very excited. Porn trading? I don't know about that, but you have some body bags? All right. So this is going to be the collector's edition of Death Metal Podcast. So we're going to focus mostly on like people that are like obsessive collectors like myself, and then as time went on, like it became very obsessive for me. Like, it started as a tape trading thing for me. It started with like regular ass magazines where I would just cut out the photos and hang them on my walls. But as time went on, then it became that I would get flyers in the mail from foreign countries. So those were the things that started to get stuck on my walls with that little blue like Funtac shit. And then basically as time went on, I noticed I had tons and tons of gig flyers and small little not show flyers, like little advertisements and all that type of stuff. So I figured, you know what, we should do a death metal podcast about this because I feel like this is very relevant to the black metal and the death metal scene, as well as like thrash and the early hardcore scene stuff or the crossover stuff, because all of our guests come from that in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sure a lot of our what's up, Sylvester? How's it going, brother? My man Sly is in the house from Fondo Corpse. That's all good. It is addictive. What's up, Mark Cooper Art? What's up, Joe Lewis from Vital Remains? Was from Vital Remains, I believe. I'm an OCD collector. I have wristbands from Maryland when they started in '07. Oh, shit. What's up, Austin? All right, so I'm going to bring on my guests right now since our death metal podcast family is here. And here we have Alexis Morrow.
Hey, how's it going?
And then we have Dennis from, he does a YouTube analog archive.
Yep.
Analog archive, sorry.
Analog archives, yep.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, definitely check and subscribe to Dennis's channel, which I'm sure you probably did anyway, because my channel's the one with the 1,000 subscribers and his is the one with the 20,000 subscribers. So So tonight, yeah, we're just going to go on here, just talk about metal, show some old flyers, and, I'll play a few songs here and there, but it'll probably just mostly be, a talk-driven thing. I just wanted to address last week, I had done the Swedish death metal edition of Death Metal Podcast, and that got, like, immediately blocked, probably within, like, 20 minutes of me stopping it, because I played like a bunch of Century Media stuff or something. So
Probably.
yeah, it's still available if you want to email me, and I could send you a link or something to watch it on StreamYard. But I went to go re-edit it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not fucking re-editing shit. I'll do another one. I could do 5 more like a Netflix. So, okay, man, I dig the show, but collecting is subjective to the person. I feel collecting only matters to some and not others. This is true. Analog Archive in the house, ripping the IPAs. Yes,
Right.
that's correct. Definitely. Do people collect that stuff, Dennis?
Yeah. Yeah, there's beer
the
collectors
cans, or they
out there.
collect full beer, or
I don't. You know what, dude? I have like some old ones. Like I have a full can of near beer, and I have remember Billy Beer.
I remember near beer.
So Billy Beer was Carson's brother. So Billy Carson, that was his brother. What was his name? The president.
Um, Billy Carter, you mean?
Carter, that's it, not Carson.
Yeah.
Billy Carter. He had his own beer.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember near beer. I used to drink that when we used to have to I don't know, when we couldn't get alcohol, maybe.
Yeah,
We were like, yeah, we're still drinking.
kind of.
Yeah, kind of, right? Without getting actually So today we're gonna show. We're gonna bring up some. We're gonna bring up some different flyers from all of our archives and different stuff. Then I'm gonna start this off with a video. We got a bunch of video submissions from a couple friends. So everybody check it out. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, too. So let's start with some of the video texts here. Here is my man Mike from Ruin.
Hey, you already know who the fuck this is. This is the cult leader from Ruin, aka the death metal cult. And here I am doing a little shoot for my boy Roy in the death metal podcast. And just going to show some stuff. There's some old flyers from back in the day. My boys at Demolition and Entity opened for Autopsy on one of the legendary shows. This was at the infamous country club. This is a crazy place way out in the valley that we all used to go to. There wasn't a lot of options back in the day. And I got really tight with Demolition and Sadistic Intent. So a lot of the local shows I would go to, there's Demolition opening for Death. And most of my time on the weekends was spent hanging out with Demolition and Sadistic Intent. They were always busy playing. Here's Immortal Fate, Sadistic, and an old band called Cancerous Factor. This place was crazy. This was in Huntington Park, and it was one of the craziest venues and craziest neighborhoods you're ever going to go to in the city of Los Angeles. If you ever went there, then it's what was it? 101st and Converse was the name of the place. So if you ever remember that. Here's Morbid Angel, came to town with Entombed and Unleashed with Sadistic. This is when Clandestine was out and LG just rejoined the band. So when they played live, he was back in the band. You know, the infamous story of Nick Hay sacking him and whatnot, for the album. But then he came back for that tour just in time, and it was crazy. Here's Morbid Angel. I believe this is the first time they were here. This was the country club, Sadistic, Nausea, open forum. This is another legendary show. And then we have a brutal lineup of Autopsy, Immolation. I believe this might have been Immolation's first time here, if I'm not mistaken. Sadistic, Entity, and Demolition open up the show. You see the Wild Rags Records logo down there. That's where all the tickets used to be back in the day. This other side is the Sadistic Intent Impending Doom flyer. So I think Wild Rags made this flyer. This is the EP that Sadistic put out. This is a early show. I think this is 89. This is Sepultura's first time here. The show didn't happen. Sadistic was going to open for him. This was supposed to be a Fenders in Long Beach, one of the most infamous venues that we had. But Fenders got shut down. Probably some violence-oriented stuff. But they were closing a lot of venues back then. And then this show did happen. This was when Destruction and the Cromags were in town. Sadistic opened that one. That was at Fenders. There's the Fenders logo. And those are some crazy shows, man. And then Roy wanted me to show off some tapes or whatever. It's a Rotting Christ, their second demo. It's always in heavy rotation. And Profanatica, of course, is always in heavy rotation. Profanatica fucking rules. This is a Beharit demo that I've been listening. I always listen to this. Just heavy, fast, evil, you know. I think this is like one of the first Nunslaughter recordings. I'm not really sure. They have so much stuff out, it's hard to keep track, but this is definitely one of the first recordings, if not their first demo. This was a Mayhem tape that I actually got from Euronymous. I used to be pen pals with him. I used to be pen pals with a lot of these guys, but Euronymous was someone that I was writing letters to back and forth with quite a while back in the day. And this was a special tape that he has sent me, but it's a few people have it, you know, through tape trading and whatnot. Fear of God, Brutal Grindcore, one of the heaviest bands, fastest bands ever. Putrefaction, you know, I know Roy had a Swedish death metal show not too long ago, and I always got a ton of Swedish death metal on play here at my house. So Putrefaction was a graveside project. Divine Eve is one of my all-time favorites. And that's always in constant rotation, their demos. One of the best demos ever recorded. The Entomb demo. That's what started it all for them after Nihilist had broken up. This is one of the heaviest recordings ever, the Mind Rot Faded Dream promo. Not a lot of people got this because it was supposed to go to labels or whatnot. I know the video is backwards, so I apologize about that. I'm a fucking dumbass caveman, man. I don't know how to fix that up. Maybe somebody send me some pointers through Messenger or something. Here's the Macrodex demo. And then this demo here is brutal, man. Lobotomy. Always listen to this. There's a lot of songs on here. There's a heavy Slayer influence on the riffing. I always thought that kind of made them stand apart a little bit. They kept that, you know, even though it's really heavy death metal, they kept that. But yeah, check out Roy's show, man. It's one of the best podcasts out there. And support Necroharmonic and the Death Metal Podcast. And Roy's got a ton of crazy stuff on his website. If you're into shirts and flags and vinyl and tapes, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you support him and check out his podcast. It's one of the best out there. All right.
All right, there we had Mike from Cali. So Dennis, can you speak maybe to this a little? Because are you and Mike in the same area? Because you're from Cali.
So I actually lived in Los Angeles for a little bit when I was going to school. So I used to go to Wild Rags all the time back then. I knew Richard from way back when I was a kid because my mom was cool and she would actually like order stuff for me from him before when I was living in the Bay Area. So she would actually call him on the phone and be like, hey, my son wants, you know, bolt thrower and whatever the fuck I was wanting back then as some like 13-year-old. And he was like, yeah. And he would send it COD, like cash on delivery. You don't do that anymore. But and then, you know, I have a bunch of shit here. I have like signed letters from Richard and stuff like that from.
Yeah, he was very pivotal, like as far as like a early distributor of stuff, not only with the music that he put out, but his newsletter would go around very hard. Like the Wild Rag was like, you know, like I had copies, and I would pour through those because all the different band names, and see stuff on there that I was like, who the fuck is this, you know?
Dude, you should have seen his store. It was insane. You'd go in there. Of course, he had like records everywhere. That's where I got like imports like Sarcophago and shit like that because you couldn't get that anywhere else. But he would get that imported in. But he would have like those big like storage bins, like Tupperware bins underneath the racks, and they were just full of demo tapes from all the bands just corresponding with him. So they would just send him demo tapes, and then he would just slap like $5 each on them, and you just have to go through all those bins.
Pretty wild.
But you never knew what you were going to get sometimes unless you like knew the bands back then, because you had
to go
like,
by the cover, right?
Yep. Or you had to like read a review in a zine, or like it was in Metal Forces in the Demolition section. Like you just never knew.
Or the band's name just sounded kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, rotting Christ, this is
Yep.
this is gonna be good. And
And
sometimes
speaking of
there was a
that,
failure in there, but obviously most of the time it was a plus plus, you know.
yeah, I mean, had that Immortal Fate demo he was talking about. I pulled that real
Okay,
quick.
let me see. Let's bring that up again, brother. Is that their first demo?
Yeah, and then no, this is not their first demo. Their first demo, I have it somewhere, but it's thrash.
Okay.
And then they went death metal. This one's cool. It opens up and has like a sticker on it, which is, you didn't get a lot of that back then. You just got plain tapes. I mean, this is just on what is this? Like a Maxell, like a shitty cassette, but
Yeah,
they spent the money.
Freeway from Immortal Fate came and stayed at my house when he toured with Autopsy. He was the bass player. So, like, he stayed at my house for like a week.
And I saw him singing for Autopsy because he took over vocals at the time.
Right.
And I remember him telling me, "Oh, I just want to sound like The Exorcist." Like that, his whole thing was Reagan from The Exorcist. But it was cool seeing him sing, at least in a couple shows, because if you didn't see him live with him, they never recorded anything. So,
right. Yeah, because
cool.
I don't think he played on Shift Fun either.
No.
But when they were touring out and they stayed with me, it was 92, I think, or I believe. They did a tour with Incantation, and they came and they had like a tour bus thingy with their friend driving it, and they parked it on the side of my house because I had a parking lot there. So basically they would just like bring like they would just come in my house and shower, and we would smoke weed and shit, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alexis, as far as you're based from New York?
Yeah. I'm
So
originally
what about
from Long
you,
Island.
like, what about you, like, digging or looking for music in your earlier times?
I mean, I grew up in the New York hardcore scene, and so a lot of like what I started collecting was shows that I was going to, and basically like got into crossover, thrash, death metal, and black metal in that order, and hip hop in there in between crossover and hardcore. But yeah, and I just started like trading with people, and being like, oh well, I was at that show, I got to get that from you, and just kind of I have a degree in art history. So I'm a collector and dealer in general. So this was more of an extension, the obsessiveness, of what I do for a living. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I was an archivist at Universal Studios, so like I wonder if that played into my like you know what I mean?
For sure. It totally did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the way you learn how to think about, just preserving these things,
Yeah. And then
making sure that we could all kind of enjoy them in the future.
when you go back to your earliest like hardcore shows, like what would those have been, and
Like shows at the downtown, like Indecision reunion, really ignorant music. That's what I really loved when I was younger and still do. But
Yeah.
I think I have some of my like earlier stuff.
well, you're in good company because we all enjoy ignorant music on this.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that you mentioned hip hop in there because, like, I noticed Dennis and myself are both fans of hip hop as well.
Yep.
Some like
Oh yeah, rest in pieces.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I
Another
saw
guy.
them. I saw them actually. Oh yeah, Sheer Terror with Neglect and Dark Side.
Yeah.
Halloween Bash.
Yeah.
Fucking Dark Side
Super
rules,
cool.
man. I love
Oh,
Dark
yeah.
Side.
Yeah, that's super
I have a bunch
cool.
of like original cut and paste stuff. Hold on. Like this.
I see that Autopsy on the back wall there.
Oh yeah, here I'll pull that down. Party till you pee red with Autopsy.
Yeah, Party Till You Pee Red with Autopsy.
Yeah.
That's a classic flyer because like Chris Reifert would like write his letters on the back of some of those ones.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, mine has a letter written on the back of
Yeah.
it.
Autopsy stuff everywhere. Cenotaph, Incantation tour, Mexico tour.
Oh yeah. I have a big ass poster of this too.
Yeah. You mentioned hip hop and like the little bit of crossover there.
Injustice. Yep.
Yeah. That's Necro's band, right?
Yeah.
I saw them opened for Obituary at Lemoore, and
Ooh.
at the very time, myself and my friends were kind of like, whatever. You know what I mean? Because we wanted to see Obituary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Weren't they
so
like 12 when they started that band?
like maybe Necro was
13?
12.
Yeah.
Bill was probably like 15 or so.
Yeah.
And when they played, and I talked to, I've been friendly with those guys for a long time, or was. I talked to them, and me and Bill like reminisced about the shows with Injustice, and he goes, "Yeah, it would either be us or that band First Order, because that band First Order, they played a lot of early Lemoore shows too, and the First Order demo is pretty good, but good times,
I think
Yeah, I
that's
have a bunch of Lemoore stuff here, so I will pop that up.
What's up, brother? How's it going, my man? So in the chat, Incantation. That was an Incantation Autopsy Vital Remains tour. I think Joe was on that one.
This?
What something you showed? I think I don't know about that one, but
Okay.
the thing when they stayed at my house. But yeah, that was that tour in particular, my brother. So cool, yeah, definitely. With hardcore and like metal crossing over, I think Biohazard did a lot in New York.
Yeah.
It seemed like they kind of like bridged a big gap. Like Carnivore started to bridge it a little bit, but they were so fucking ignorant, basically, like you said, that they had trouble. They had trouble bridging the gap till Typo. But basically, like, Biohazard kind of, like, covered in there. And, like, they would bring out, like, the death metal fans. Because I remember seeing them so many times.
I have a ridiculous. That's, like, probably one of my, like, most collected hardcore bands. Biohazard, for sure.
And I think even for me, too, because they stayed very prolific with the flyering scene.
Oh, yeah.
There was two bands that were the most prolific for us. Which in New York, I would say was Biohazard. And then for me in New Jersey, where I lived outside New York, Ripping Corpse was our band. So there was constant Ripping Corpse. Exactly. Oh, Ripping Corpse with Snag. Rest in peace, Eddie.
Yeah.
Revenant, Ritual Torment.
Yep.
Society.
I love that illustration on there.
Yeah, and they always had their own artist would draw their flyers.
So
the same guy that drew their demo cover stuff,
Yeah,
You would
Midnight
put Life
Rain
of
played on that
Agony in
too.
there too. Okay, I would actually put Life of Agony in there too. You're right. What's up, Tommy? Yeah, Snag is on that one. Fallout was also great too, for sure. Revenant, Henry Veg. Yep. What about for you, Dennis? Was there like kind of like a crossover-y, kind of metal-y hardcore band that you would consider like the kings of your area?
I mean, for me, it was it was mainly crossover bands. I know DRI wasn't from here, but they played in the Bay Area all the time. I think they lived here for a while, so it was always like DRI, Attitude Adjustment, Verbal Abuse, and then you had like other bands that would come through too, like GBH, English Dogs, all those bands that I saw way back then. Yeah, for the most part, it was like Attitude Adjustment was like at every show.
Okay. Were
and
they
then-
like they were from the Bay?
Yeah, that was Andy Anderson. So he was one of the dudes from the Bay Area scene. The guy, like, if you ever seen that picture of the guy jumping off at like I think it's like a Slayer or a Possess show. He's like in midair. That's him.
Oh,
That's
okay. On the old
Andy
record?
Anderson.
On that record?
And then he joined, formed Attitude Adjustment, turned into Attitude.
Is
But,
he the
yeah,
one
they
from
were-
on that record? There's like a thrash record with a stage diver guy on the front.
Could be. I know it's in that book, the Murder in
American
the Front Row.
Hardcore.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that
the
guy,
Murder
that's a
in the
famous
Front
scene
Row.
because he's like this high in the air. It's like off a giant ass aim.
I have to say, with a laugh too, I remember when S.O.D did a reunion at the Ritz, and it was their comeback show. and then Billy Milano had climbed on top of that top amp in the thing.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm going to jump. I'm going to jump. And most of the crowd was like, he ain't going to fucking jump from that thing. Because it was high. It was
Yeah.
like 60, 70 feet high, I think. That motherfucker jumped, man.
Really?
And he
That's
was a
crazy.
big motherfucker, too. So I was like, yo, man, someone's going to get fucking splattered down there. But they caught him, man. I think there's a video of it. Like the live of Budokan, you know?
Yeah. But speaking of like the Bay Area, like
Courtney.
the hardcore scene wasn't really big here. I mean, you had Green Day and bands like that, like more punk stuff.
Okay.
There wasn't like a lot of hardcore bands. I was in a couple hardcore bands, but which is cool because the guy that I was in a band with moved to Syracuse, and he was like in bands with like Earth Crisis and those bands. But
Any band that you found that kind of crossed like the death metal hardcore gap a little bit? Would Attitude Adjustment be that, or would it be something else?
they weren't death metal; they were just pure.
Yeah.
Cross.
So was there like, because I know, like I said, like Biohazard for some stupid reason they
Well,
covered that over where we lived.
I think Biohazard. I think our Biohazard, and I think in the beginning was Machine Head, because they
Okay.
always played with Biohazard. It
Mm.
was Machine Head and Biohazard. They would always like play together. I think Machine Head was kind of going for that sound, especially on the demo and the first record. Of course, they changed, but they were trying to go for that heavy hardcore sound. But I don't think they knew. They weren't really hardcore guys. They were metal guys.
Right.
So I think it was hard for them to do that. Whereas I think the Biohazard guys were more punk guys that turned hardcore. So,
Yeah.
but we didn't really have that kind of scene here. I can't think of any like
I
cross.
gotcha.
I mean, there's a lot now. There's a lot of hardcore bands in the Bay Area, like Tsunami and all those bands. But
Tsunami,
San
they're
Jose
from-
and
they're from there?
Yeah, but now, I mean, back then there just wasn't, because it just wasn't a scene here. It wasn't like, so if we wanted to listen to hardcore, we just listened to stuff from East Coast.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I mean, it was probably the same for us because when you said verbal abuse, I'm like, ooh, verbal abuse. Like we didn't get that. I got to see like Judge and then Gorilla Biscuits and like Cromags, Carnivore, uh, Killing Time. Let me think. Rest in Pieces. I saw. I remember I had a flyer like when I was a little kid, and I wanted to go to this DRI COC show at CBGB's, and it was like $4 to get in, and I had like $3 or something, and I was like so scared to go there and shit because I was like, it costs $2 to go to there on the Paris train, so like
Yeah.
I had hopped the train things. And then I went there and I was like, I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know. I was alone, I was a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
kid.
I mean,
it was a slant. It was like COC, probably like it wasn't. It was like right after maybe Eye for an Eye time. So
yeah. I mean,
and
those
I was
days
so
were,
young. I was kind of
those
like,
days were tough, dude, because if you're a metal guy trying to go to those like kind of punk shows, you could get your ass kicked any second.
I
all
think I
they
knew
do is,
that.
like,
And
dude,
and the
fucking
ones
long
I
hair
did go
on-
to when I was younger, I would just stand back a little bit
Yep.
and just let them do their thing, basically.
Yep.
And that for some reason, no one really fucked with me. I mean, one time I did get jumped at a nuclear assault show. They pulled the back of my hair down and just ripped my fucking hair down, and I felt like feet all over me. And then it was over. But I mean, beyond that, like I used to just step back from the pit and just be like, nah,
Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it was like, I'm here for the music, but like I'm not getting in the pit. And then I mean, after all those bands, there was like a little bit of a resurgence in New York, I thought, with 25 to Life. Because
Yeah.
once they started coming around and doing things, I would see Rick to Life at Lemoore before 25 to Life as a fan. He didn't have a band,
Yeah.
And then he didn't have tattoos even. He had like barely any fucking tattoos. So like he had his locks. They were smaller, obviously. So you would see him going crazy. And then he really pushed up the hardcore scene. It's unfortunate that things went south at the end, but with him and the scene and whatever the fuck happened, which
Well,
I have
I
no
mean,
idea.
I think we
don't
all
care.
have our Rick to Life stories.
Yeah. I don't really
saw,
care what happened, you know.
I saw him too. I saw 25 to Life in the Bay Area. There was a club called Gilman, and they would play all the hardcore shows.
Right.
But the thing with, and I didn't bring out my tapes, but I had an E-Town Concrete demo,
Right.
and it was an Infest demo, and I got from Rick, and they were like the tapes themselves were like Michael Jackson or something. So he would sell you demos, not just trade you demos. He would sell you demos, and then he'd dub over like shitty cassettes and be like,
Right.
"Here,
He
dude,
would dub
that's-
over other cassettes, and then he would sell the cheapest
That's on
cassettes.
point, yeah.
He was really frugal with his cassettes. He would
Which is-
get like the cheapest cassettes, you know.
which is cool, it's fine, but don't like be like, yeah, it's an original demo, man." And then that
If you get sent
that-
it.
yeah,
Yeah. Now, in Eastern PA here for us, hardcore Jersey was like Bio, Typo, Life of Agony. A band called Loyal to None, Neglect, PA's No One's Heroes. Cool.
Neglect.
Airport Music Hall? Yeah, I went there. That was a BYOB. You could bring your own beer. I went to go see Creator there.
Nice.
So that was a cool spot. To each his own. I hate a ton of hardcore. Gilman, fuck
Never
yes.
heard that before.
What's going on? Caveman Cult, fucking rule, brother. What's been caught buttering mean? I have to guess, but I'm not sure. Airport Music Hall. This my man knows right here. Napalm Death, Sepultura, Biohazard, Sick of It All tour. The Titans, new Titans on the block. Allentown, PA.
Ooh.
Was a skinhead war zone. Interesting.
I want to see that flyer.
Yeah,
I was
I
at
have
that
that.
show. I saw
I
him
went
on
to
that
see
show.
that at Obsessions in Jersey. It wasn't the exact same lineup, but yeah.
I saw him in Oakland on that tour.
Was that called? I didn't realize that was considered the new Titans on the block.
I don't know. Slayer and Slayer Testament. Was it Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax did something like that? New Titans on the block.
Wait, it's actually this. I got it.
Everyone's equipped here with their own collectible
Don't make me pull out the full poster.
Yeah, it's weird because like when you have like when you're kind of obsessive about like the posters and the stuff, that's amazing.
I have that same poster.
Alexis, that really looks in good condition, just to be honest.
It pretty much was unrolled today for the first time.
Wow, that's cool.
Clash of the Titans.
You're seeing it only here on Death Metal
That-
Podcast.
That's a UK one. In the US, instead of Testament, it was Alice in Chains, I believe.
Right.
Alice in Chains opened up for that. It was like Alice in Chains, Anthrax, Megadeth, Slayer, and
My mom wouldn't let me go to the Clash of the Titans. You know what? I didn't go to the Clash of the Titans myself because I was on tour with Anal Cunt, Incantation, and Phlegm. So we didn't go. And that was like everywhere we went. Like we were in Houston, it was like, oh, the Clash of the Titans is here. We went to Florida, they're like, the Clash of the Titans is here. We're like, fuck. Like, couldn't they go the other direction, dude? Yeah,
probably
sick
wouldn't have
poster.
went. I wouldn't have went, but we got free tickets. We won them on the radio. My friend won tickets.
Tops of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, we're going to Clash of the Titans. I'm like, we are? All right. We're leaving. I think we left like 2 songs into Megadeth.
My mom wouldn't let me go too. Exactly. My mom wouldn't let me go to Michigan Death Fest with John McEntee. She's like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is John McEntee? Because he wasn't in my like regular ass friend circle. She's like, I'm not letting you go to fucking Michigan with some man. I was like, he's not a man. He's one of my friends.
Yeah, it sounds so sketchy when you say it like that.
I know. That's what I said to my mom. Well, I didn't say that to my mom then, but that's the way it came out of her mouth, and I was like, what the fuck?
It
I was
was
like, I just
sketchy.
want to go see
I remember
fucking Nuclear Death.
as a kid getting rides from guys, and they're like, yeah, dude, I just did like fucking hella drugs. All right, you guys ready to go to Creator? Yeah.
Yeah, it was all about getting rides for me because I didn't have a license till I was like 20, maybe.
Yeah.
So everything I went to
Yeah,
was
until
like
I was 18,
yeah, it was all my friends driving. It was the best though. I mean, those were the best of times.
It was.
Some of the Michigan Metal Fest lineups were insane. They were. Definitely. What is this? Google concert shut
Yeah.
down at Airport Music Hall
There you go.
92.
I
Yeah,
want
show
that.
that again, Alexis. Yeah, the Michigan Death Fest too. I went to this. Flem played that. I flew out there with John McEntee, and fucking he threw out his bag with his strings in the garbage bin, and he threw out our plane tickets with it. So the next day after the show, we went back to the Michigan Death Fest location, which was a real sketch ass neighborhood, and we were digging in a fucking dumpster for a bag for
Oh,
fucking to find tickets to fucking fly home from fucking Michigan or whatever.
damn.
Eventually, we just had to buy new tickets, but it kind of sucked, you know.
That sucks.
So yeah, it was interesting. So cheers. Hello from Hungary. All right. Awesome flyer and autopsy shirt, Alexis.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a really sick fest. When I went there, I think actually I didn't drive there with Flem. I drove there with Matt and Bill from Relapse. I met them up at their house, and I went to Bill from Relapse's house when he lived with his parents, because Relapse used to be run out of Bill's basement. So I went and hung out with them and stayed with them, and I think I was the weed guy basically. So like I had a bunch of weed, so that they drove me, and then I went to Repulsion's camper, and we smoked out like it with Repulsion. And that was at the time when that Dave Grave guy had the little Hitler mustache thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like it was super cool though. I mean, they had a really dope ass camper like right outside the venue. And I was like just going back on my own mind, I probably was like about 18 at the time, you know, or 19. And I'm like, damn man, I can't believe I'm hanging out with fucking.
I do have a
Repulsion
Michigan
right now.
Death Fest flyers.
Ooh.
Of course, it's not that fucking
No,
class.
that was a cool one.
Yeah, letter on the back.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, this is how, yeah, and to anybody that wasn't okay, Leslie, love your flyers, Alexis, super cool collection.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Bill from Exit 13. That's right. Metal Mom is a legend. I still see her at shows occasionally. Yeah, Metal Mom would set up those shows, and she was a legend. She's amongst the legends of fest promoters. You've done a couple dumpster dives for guaranteed money and never got you. So let's go to I had a couple more video guests that brought us some cool stuff. Let's go to another one. This is Nickolas Wojcik. I noticed he's a huge collector on IG, and I reached out to him and I said, hey man, you want to do a video for us? And here it is.
Hey everyone, this is Nickolas Wojcik here on this special edition of the Death Metal Podcast, talking about what I would consider as a very important element of, certain to me in my life and my experience in collecting metal music for, 3+ decades. Tape trading. It's kind of a big umbrella there, because I kind of feel like tape trading is not only exclusive to tapes, but other formats too. You talk about vinyl records, certainly like flyers, posters for gigs and everything. So much of this stuff was, sort of hand produced, and there's a kind of DIY ethic that they all sort of get tangled up. And I think it's a cool topic to talk about, especially in this day and age where you've got computers and the internet and algorithms all sort of discovering music for you in so many ways. So it's certainly releases that and items that I got through trading with friends and labels are some of the most important to me, because these are things that really just sort of expose me to so many great bands, so many great labels, and so many great people. I feel like that there's just this sort of camaraderie to it that's so far removed from what we've got today. And so it's cool to be on here talking about this, and I'm just going to kind of jump into a couple of things that I pulled out from the vault that are some of my favorites from trades that I've done or just acquired through that sort of measure. It's always important to start with some of the innovators like Possessed. I grew up in the United States, so just kind of looking at some of those bands from the States. Here's another underrated one, Morgion. One thing about a lot of these releases is, like with this Morgion, for example, it doesn't have any label on it. A lot of these bands were unsigned. Same with that Possessed tape. They were all sort of self-released. It's always also, this is a fun one. This Morbid Angel tape. It's not totally Morbid Angel because this is actually, people used to make like mixtapes and everything and, give them to your friends and, you just swap things out, expose people to new bands that way. And this is a tape that an old friend at Pit Magazine made for me. It's got like Morbid Angel, early Autopsy demos, Paradise Lost demos, Carbonized, early My Dying Bride. There's a little note in here, from Kurt. He's saying, yeah, check these guys out. It's heavy. If you like these, also check out this other band, Nihilist. That's actually what sort of turned me onto. That can definitely be said about growing up in the United States and trying to learn about bands from overseas. Tape trading was sort of like that's where it was at. Just writing letters to people, snail mail. I pulled out some items from Europe. You got like early Anathema, Nocturnus, excellent tape right here. Science of Horror, Dark Throne, New Dimension, of course, Dismember, Essential, and relatedly, one of my favorite all-time bands, Nihilist. One thing as I'm looking at all these, a lot of these tapes that I just shared, so many of them are like black and white covers. They're like, photocopied or at that time Xeroxed. And then you slowly get into like something like this, Mythic, the Immortal Realm. You've got a little bit of color here with the blue Mythic logo. And let's see what else we've got from Europe. Some of their early trades. This is Unleashed. Sinister Monastery Split. It's got the big hole. You don't really see these anymore very often. And then, you trade with people and they'd be like, oh, if you like this, try this out. And so it was like I was discovering black metal or whatever. I remember an old friend of mine turned me onto this, Abruptum. I like this one because the sort of pixelated logo sort of is a testament to the times. It's not quite as polished as things look now, as black metal releases look now. And, so through these sort of trades, that's not only how you would learn about different bands, but certainly different labels. When I started getting into like, learning about really great labels like Wild Rags, excellent Sadistic Intent tape, or JL America, got the early Beharit. Did some trading with some of the old Relapse guys. For example, we've got Phobia, All That Remains, 7-inch. Incantation, Entrapment of Evil. a lot of these early Relapse records, I mean, they're just unbeatable. Deceased, Gut Wrench, really essential band right here, Disrupt. And a lot of times, you know, you'd be, you know, trading with people and they'd throw in some extras. This one came with a Disrupt patch. Again, a lot of these, you know, they didn't have, a lot of these bands weren't signed to labels, or they were just self-produced or whatever. So like here's another great release, Mortician, Immolation, A Day of Death, Split, no label on the record. But you know, similarly to music releases and people just sort of like, you know, it's being distributed either word of mouth, or, you know, learn about bands through word of mouth, or just things sort of handed to you. That could be said about gig flyers. One of my favorite metal shows I ever went to was at a skate park. I was on my skateboard one day, and you know, back then skateboarding was, when I was a little kid, growing up in the 80s, like, and even into the 90s, like, you know, skateboarding there's like this sort of stigma behind it. You know, you'd be called like a, you know, it's just, it wasn't as accepted as it was nowadays. And so, like, you know, I remember riding my skateboard down the road, and this guy was like, "Oh, you like skating? You should go to the skate park and check this band out." You know, and handed me this flyer. Dismember, Suffocation, Invader. This would have been the Indecent and Obscene tour for Dismember, and Breeding the Spawn for Suffocation. But I remember, you know, the guy had just come from the copy center, where he had sort of like, you know, taped this all together and Xeroxed it for me, or Xeroxed a bunch of copies and then handed one to me. You know, just great stuff. Like I was saying, you know, just, you know, sending things through the mail, making contacts, writing to people. A lot of times you wouldn't hear from anybody, and then sometimes you would, you know. Later on, of course, you get into things like CDs. This is a CD from Disciples of Mockery. It's a band that Craig Pillard had started after his time in Incantation. Just got this letter in here where, you know, he's just saying, "Hello, check out my new band, Disciples of Mockery." He's also talking about his other band, Womb. And, you know, just talking a little bit about what him and Ronnie Dio and Jim Rowe were up to after Incantation. And so it's cool to just pull a lot of this stuff out.
All right, so there we have it. Yeah, so like everything he said too was true. Like, most of the information was spread through the letters, right?
Yep.
It was like, you know, like, I don't know, you know, like, it seemed like a one little period of time, which I wanted to bring up on the screen here, a couple photos I had from some of my experiences with getting some of the same bands that he showed there. Like, I would write to the bands, you know? So, like, it would be like, "Hey," this would be a letter I sent to Jorgen from Grave. "Hey, Roy, what's up? Thanks for the Incantation 7 inches. Now, like, I want to preface this. I was like a fucking maniac. So I would send all the bands a 7-inch of Incantation, and then I would send them a blank tape and money and everything I could do to try to, like, get something back. You know what I mean? Because I felt like if I make some kind of impact with whoever I'm writing, they're going to write me back, you know? Instead of just a letter with $5, it's like, "Thank you. You know, here's $5. Here's your demo. Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, and then it was
You
always
know what I
like,
mean? Like, so I would write a letter, but I would send like $1 or $2, because it was only like $2 or something for them to mail it back. And then I'd be like, "Hey, can
"Send
you
back
tape
the
me anything
stamps,
from your
man.
local
Send me my
spots?"
stamps back."
Yeah.
There's always to send the stamps back.
Yeah, "Please return my stamps." And I talked about this during the last episode. Like, the "please return my stamps" thing, I didn't even know what the fuck it was, dude. Because I was like, I'm not even gonna write you back. I don't understand why I would send the stamps back, because I have to pay to send the stamps back. So it took a little while for me to figure out, like, oh shit, they put soap over the top of the stamps. And you know what made me figure it out? When someone sent me a fucking letter with a return stamps all over it, and the thing was like a fucking brick on the front, you know? I was like, this thing has been around the world and back more than my fucking, you know? Those letters and that stuff back then were around the world farther than we were, you know?
Yeah.
There was just to talk about this too, because I don't. There's been people talk about this and don't, but like I experienced some of this stuff firsthand. There would be this guy that would write to you from Bulgaria, and he's like, "Hey Roy, thank you for the 7-inch of Incantation, da da da. You know, I heard EPs of Rotravor, Apparition, CD of Suffocation, Rotravor, General Surgery. Can you send me? I'll send you 2 liters of vodka for 3 or 4 7-inches. Do you think we can trade vodka? 1 bottle equals 2 or 3 7-inches. 1.5 bottle, 1 7-inch. Tell me what you think about that. I'll wait for your letter. I'll wait for your trade." So listen, I did it. I sent the 7-inches and CDs or whatever the fuck I was sending at the time. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send this shit.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I get a fucking letter from the post office. They're like, hey, what's going on? You know, stop in to your local. You know, so I go there. I know the guy already. They hate me there. So basically, because I'm there every fucking day.
Yo.
They're like, hey, Roy, what's up, man? I was like, hey, what's up? And they're like, you got these 2 huge parcels here, and he's like, listen, there's alcohol in them, and like you're not supposed to ship this through the United States Postal Service. So I was like, oh, I didn't know, you know. He goes, but one of the cases is good. He's like, here, take it. And the other one was like smashed and had like wetness on the side.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, I guess that one got smashed, right? You guys are gonna take that or something? He goes, and then it was like half open, and I was like, yo, how come all the bottles aren't in here? He goes, the people that work here probably drank them. I'm like, oh, all right. He's like, listen, just take those other ones out. So I got like maybe like 5 bottles. We took them to a camping trip. Some of them had labels on them. Some of them didn't. We drank that shit, man. That was the best camping trip ever. I think I paid like, I don't even know, dude. Probably like 5 7-inches for like fucking 5 bottles of fucking vodka. I wrote him back afterwards. I was like, can you send this particular label? Because there was one of the bottles that I liked, you know? It had like a Bulgarian label on it. I was like, I didn't want the ones that had no labels on them. I wanted the ones that had like labels on them. But I actually got the fucking Bulgarian vodka.
Nice.
Super sick. And that was the letter from the guy. Hails. So yeah, and then I got a fucking there was one more. Well, I'll talk about it later, I guess. But did you ever get anything weird in the mail?
I got some weird shit, dude. So I used to trade with this guy from Canada, right? And he was like super anal. Like, make sure you write down like every song title. Make sure you put so he wanted rubber bands around the tape spool so they didn't move in the mail. So I had to do that. But I used to trade records with him and stuff. And then he had this friend, apparently, named Dominic, who was like I think it was him, but he would always say, my friend Dominic wants that DRI record that you have, or that Motorhead record. I'll trade you this Bonsai Celtic Frost and, you know, whatever else. And I'm like, dude, I really want that death metal comp you have. Because there was, on Noise Records, there was a death metal comp. It had like Hellhammer. I think it had a band called Dark Avenger, Running Wild. But it has this really killer fucking zombie cover on it, drawn by the same guy that did the Pleasure to Kill cover. And he's like, nah, man. Even back then, that shit was expensive. So he's like, nah, I'm not trading that. And I was like, all right, cool. Whatever. Things go back and forth. Sometimes he's not happy with the way the records are. He's like, yeah, Dominic didn't like that record. It was kind of like messed up. Also sent back my stamps. And I'm like, okay, dude. So I was like, okay, well, just send me the fucking To Make a Theory on, right? So we're going back and forth, and finally I get this letter. I get a package, right? So I open it up. I get this letter, and it's from his mom, and his mom's like, unfortunately, um, Dominic has committed suicide,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, and he wanted you to have this record, and it was the death metal record. That was like his in
What?
his last writings or whatever, right? Um, don't feel too sorry yet because
Okay.
all the way at the end of this letter, also please send back stamps, and I'm like, what? What is his mom into trading? So I don't know what happened. Like I think he just felt bad because he had this like alter ego and shit, and was like, "Here's that death metal record." And then after that, I never traded with him. But I
Right,
traded
right.
with him for a good like almost 2 years.
Maybe his
So
mom saw that on the letter or knew
it
something.
was
But
just super weird.
I've
It
had
was
some
like,
alter ego traders too.
and it was just like send back stamps, and I'm like, what? What is his mom
Yeah,
gonna
that
send
that kind
out?
of killed the letter.
But
Yeah,
I got the death metal comp, so
yeah.
So matters.
Alexis, any exciting experiences with your?
Um, every once in a while, someone will look up my name, I think, and just send me stuff to my house, which I really don't like.
Mm,
That's not cool. Please don't do that. Feel free to message me. Um, yeah, I've surprisingly had mainly good experiences. Definitely some people lying and sending me copies of
right,
shit,
yeah,
which I can tell. So,
for
it's not like super slick. Um, yeah, mainly just that. People bootlegging stuff, which I
right.
don't love. You
Yeah,
know,
there's no love for that.
no, not a fan. Uh, but yeah, I'm no one to knock on, but I'm really like hopeful that you know, it all continues to be as pleasant as it has been.
Yeah, where do you find your biggest collector's market just for like what you've been buying?
Mainly people I know being like, "Hey, are you interested in this?" And I'm not really a fan of like I buy stuff for sure, but I do like to trade.
Mm,
Preferably. I don't know, something just kind of happens when you charge a lot of money for something. It, mutates the whole,
experience.
purpose of it, in
yeah,
my opinion.
Right.
for sure.
I agree.
Especially like with stuff like shirts. It just unreal the kind of prices that people, pay for shirts and stuff
Right.
like that, which I think is ridiculous and insane. But yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of stuff is like people who have, their collections and they're just doing nothing with them.
Mm,
And they'll be like, "Hey, can I send this stuff to you?" And I do not sell anything, so I think that's a huge part of it is that I'm
Mhm.
gonna archive it
right.
and write about it. So
Right. And I
yeah,
see that you frame a lot of your stuff, which is
yeah,
good, you know?
yeah. And I mean, a lot of the stuff,
And
like,
the
I keep
flats, the way
I
you
keep
had
most
it.
of it in like plastic and stuff like that.
Let's see that.
Um,
Wait, I have
oh,
to see that one.
this
That's a
is
very rare ass flyer.
it's a one of, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I was actually, this is
That
for
has
a long time
Aragon on
before I
it.
got like a carcass blood bag. This was the most I'd ever paid. I paid like $80 for this. Yeah.
That has a picture of Aragon on it who
Yeah.
passed away. I know
Yeah.
that guy. I
Yeah.
knew that guy.
And like the little
Oh, wait, let's see that. Hold on. Okay. Oh, that's dope.
yeah. It's definitely one of those things that it is one of the most amazing things I have. I absolutely love that poster.
That's fucking sick.
I don't even hang it up because I don't want it to get faded by the sun. So I keep it in a drawer.
Yeah, one of one too is
Yeah.
fucking sick.
Yeah.
I
That's
love stuff like that.
that's
That
how
I
I
think
feel
that's
about
what
my
makes us the most obsessive, right?
yeah.
The low
I think my
numbers and the one of fives.
Oh yeah.
it's always
Oh,
my yellow goat. I'm like, shit, dude, where am I gonna put this? Like where it's not gonna get fucked up.
Mm,
And it's always like it ends up like mixed in with some records and shit like that. I'm like, fuck, how
hmm
did I get that out of there?
I think it's like a
Beautiful.
nice balance they have to strike between like the deification of it and the treating it as a regular thing and
Yep.
using it as such, you
Exactly.
know? if you're just gonna like, not like, I go through my stuff and I look at it a lot.
Yeah, I'm constantly touching the fuck
You
out of
know,
my stuff,
and I
regardless
got
of
so
how
excited when you
expensive
were
it
like,
is.
right,
Yeah, like I have to use it because it's
yeah,
like I feel more. I feel like then I have more of a connection with it. And
yeah,
then there's stuff I had sold over the years too, and I'm like regretting that now. But at the same time, it's like I had to live. So like I
yeah,
had also some stuff I had sold. I made investments into what I do now as a business. So
yeah.
in a weird way, I didn't. I
Yeah, so
didn't lose
sometimes
out.
I'll do that too. Like every once in a while, like I'll buy like a lot of something for one flyer that I really want,
Right.
and then I'll take the rest of it and sell it to fund my habit.
Nice.
So,
Well, same. Yeah.
yeah.
I think
I've done that with
all of us probably do that
I've
in
done
one
that
way
with
or another.
shirts. Like I'll
Oh
have
yeah.
these shirts, and I'm like, fuck, dude, this like Gorguts long sleeve is going for like $500. Do I really need this? Like,
Right.
I could buy like X amount of stuff. So like, I'll sell something like that when it's going high, like when
Yeah.
people are paying a lot
Same.
for it.
I've done
But
that.
Yeah.
I haven't done it too much lately, but I have done it numerous times. One time my car went into impound and I
Yeah.
needed money within a week. I went on eBay and I stuffed up the most fucking ridiculous shit up there. I was like 100, buy it now, like 100,
Yeah.
100, 100, 100, 100, or whatever, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the car back like on the last day.
Yeah.
So I made just like thousands of dollars within
It's
a
crazy.
fucking week on there.
Yeah.
Hindsight, I don't even remember what the fuck I sold. So the bottom
Well, I
line,
guess that's good.
I got the car back.
Yeah.
So like, like if I sold something that was that pivotal, I could still listen to it. I mean, it's still out there.
And the chance you could find it again is pretty high if it's not
I
a
think
one-off.
so.
So
Even with shirts,
Yeah.
as
It's
time
just,
goes on,
I mean, you
the
can always
shirt
buy
thing-
like if you need to buy a reprint of something, like okay, I got this reprint of some shirt I had. I mean, they're reprinting if it bootleg, they're reprinting everything now. So it's like, oh, I can get this fucking dismember
Yeah.
shirt I had back
Yeah.
in, '98 that I traded,
Yeah.
which was stupid. I mean, we all done that. Like I traded that shirt, I traded my Carnage Dark Recollections 50
yeah.
disc. And,
I outgrew most of my shirts. There was like an XL, I was an L.
hey, I'm still wearing mine
Feel
from back in the
free
day.
for anybody who is listening that has outgrown their shirts.
Right. So I've
Um,
outgrown my shirts. So then
yeah.
I want the shirt that fits now,
Yeah.
That's the difference too.
And
I
plus,
mean,
you're not scared to wear it out. Like, oh
well,
man,
I
is
look
somebody
at my
gonna-
old shirts
like
and
if
they look like
you go to
little
a
kids'
show or
ones.
something and somebody like pulls your shirt.
That's kind of like what happened. Like I wear all my shirts, but I figure like that's kind of part of it. I try not to like be just
I
careless.
think I had a growth spurt between 17 and 19. That's what it was, though. So, like, a lot of shirts I bought when I was 17, 18, 16 years old, I must have been a smaller dude. And then now I'm 6'3". So, like some of the shirts, they look small. And then, obviously, I was drying the shit out of them,
Yeah, and then those like blue grape shirts were like giant anyway. So
Yeah,
God,
the quality
shirts
of the shirt depended on, like, how long you could keep it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if the shirt was like a certain quality, you might be able to keep it longer. You might even have it today. I have shirts from back in the day that I still have today, and they fit. So like that's a testament to a long-term shirt. But then there's every single one has its own like varying quality,
Yeah.
Yep.
You cut your shirts into wife beaters like tanks. Some of my shirts I really don't like to wash. Yeah. I agree with that one.
Like this autopsy shirt, I'll hand wash this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been not drying some of my shirts. So
Yeah.
I've been like, you know what? I'm not gonna dry that. Evil Death on that Profanatica. Dude, I have the Profanatica Massacre Split LP on Osmos. What's up, Synthetic Life? I don't know if I'm going to that Suffocation show, Synthetic Life. I looked at the lineup. It was too whack for me. I have a Sealed Fist 7-inch Aragon that played on. I never heard of that. Aragon played on a different... I know he played on some other band. You're gonna try to go? I mean, I'll have to look at what day it is. Maybe I'll meet you outside on your bicycle like that other time. I'd rather hang outside of a show than go inside sometimes. So that's why I stopped going to shows years ago, because I realized I spend more time outside eating falafels and like drinking. You know, like I back then I used to drink. Like now I don't drink, but like I would just walk around on the street outside the club. You know what I mean? Hang around. Same thing. All right. And I didn't know if I was alone with that, but it's like the show was like an afterthought. It was just like, all right, Black Witchery is going to be there, so I know where to meet them, you know? So, okay, so let's go. I wanted to show a letter to also, I wrote with Profanatica in the early days. And Paul actually and my friend Jim Stanek were friends. And then I sent money on a flyer, and he didn't make many flyers. So I had it written to him, and then he wrote me back, "Hey Roy, what's up, you sick fuck? Here's your demo. Sorry it took so long. I'll have a 7-inch out soon. I'll write you back and tell you if we have a video of G Willikers. It came out really good. Usually $15, blah 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 later." So like, yeah, they had a little Profanatica letterhead, and he sent me like a bunch of flyers, the show flyers. Now I have a history of Profanatica, because when I would go to Lemoore, the first times I was, not the first times, like down the line at Lemoore at death metal shows, people would come up to me and they would say, "Are you Paul Ledney?" Because I was with McEntee and Ronnie, so they thought I was Paul Ledney. You know what I mean? Because like me and Paul Ledney are a little asimilar looking, you know what I mean? Just like a little. So like they would be like, "Are you Paul Ledney?" And I was like, no. And then me and Paul Ledney were like joking about that. I was like, "Yeah, you know," I was like, somebody was asking me if I was you, but I was like, "No, I'm the good looking guy, not you," you know? And then, you know, I went to all the early Profanatica shows. So like they had a show at the Fortune Cookie Inn, which was some fucking Chinese restaurant. And then G Willikers, I went to that. And Spodies. I think I put the flyer for that one up too. Maybe I just downloaded it. So there was early like show, you know, the earliest Profanatica shows basically. I went to like all of them basically, which is super sick. It was like the experience of being at the show was the fun part. Like the band was sick, you know, don't get me wrong, but like the shit that Paul would be yelling out, the club would just bug the fuck out, and so would the fans, you know. So yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm 6'3" also.
Oh, yeah,
and
wait.
metal labels only sell L's and XLs. Exactly.
I have some more Profanatica stuff over here. These are from Cheers, though. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Like.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I was at those shows. That's cool. Can you hold that one up? Hold them up again? Yeah, Demolition Hammer, Brutal Truth, Primeval. Primeval played like all the shows back then.
Yeah.
They were on like everything.
Was that like your local like thrash band that always played a show?
Yeah, they were like our local death thrash band. Yeah, they were the other crossover band, kind of like maybe more than Biohazard. They had more like of a death metal edge.
Yeah, and I got like
At
this
that
G
time.
Willikers.
Yeah, I went to that show too. This was Disharmonic Orchestra. I hate flexing to say like I went to that, but
You're lucky.
basically
dude.
immolation,
I was there.
incantation. Yeah, I was at that too, which was a really amazing show. Disharmonic Orchestra, like playing wise, they were amazing. They were amazing
band.
players live.
Fuck, I love that band back in the day.
Yeah,
I love this
wasn't
one,
like
too.
I listened to the record afterwards. Yeah, Venner drew that flyer, Bill
Yeah.
Venner from Disney.
Yeah, he was
So-
like looking through those recently, and I have like doubles of most of these. Yeah, and he hadn't seen them since.
Yeah, and that red one is the old original one, because some of mine are red
Yeah.
too. Because I have that, and he drew like the bottom half of that, so all the
Yeah.
directions and all that stuff. Alter and Abolish, right? It says on there. All
Yeah.
the other bands.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Iconoclast, Thanatopsis, Infectious Waste.
Right. I don't even remember those bands
It
playing.
was a
but I
benefit
do-
show for Agoraphobia.
Yeah, their guitars got stolen at the other show
I
beforehand.
think I
So,
think Thanatopsis. I'm not sure if it's the same band, but they were a Bay Area band that always played.
Interesting. Well, there would be stuff because Frantic Ann from G Willikers, if somebody was rolling through or there was something going on,
Yeah,
she would put them on. You know what I mean? So maybe it's two different bands with the same name
could
too.
be. I mean,
because-
I'm sure there's multiple bands.
yeah. I mean,
I mean, for
there's-
me, it was always Sadists. Sadists were always playing at every show I went to. So,
Mm,
who's opening? Sadists.
right. So
And
you got
it's-
to experience Sadist before the Illusions?
Oh yeah, I saw them.
That's
I
cool.
have the demo, like DDP, the Death of Posers demo, and
Uh-huh.
they were always playing. And we always liked Sadists. It got like a little, like, oh man, all right, let's go to
Sadists.
Snack Bar. We don't need to see Sadists again.
Right. You showed up.
Which
15
sounds
minutes
weird
late.
now, but back then, when you've seen them like 10 times, it's just like, all right. And same thing with a band called Betrayal. I don't know if you guys know that band, but they were from the Bay Area too. They were on the Raging Death comp.
Okay.
There were another band, and then Thanatopsis, Abhorrence, Immortal Fate, Exhumed. They all played all those shows.
Right.
And it was always like, we're going to see Autopsy. All right, well, it's going to be Abhorrence and Exhumed opening up. So
It was extra time to drink outside.
yeah,
I never looked at it that way back then, but that's what it ended up being.
Yep.
I was a nerd. So like if there was like a bunch of bands, I usually try to go like to the first one even. And just to see what the fuck that was, you know? And if I felt like, I'll come back. But back when I was the youngest, I just stayed. But
Yeah.
say like as time went on, I still would try to show up for the first band to see like what is this, you know?
Yep.
I would like the experience of going to a show. It's like it's very communal in a way. So like, you see a few people you see a few people you don't know. I'm a little extroverted, so like I'll go out there, talk to people about their shirts.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like that at a death metal show or a black metal show, obviously.
I think it was like you always saw the same guys. So it'd be like there'd be the guy that ran Necropolis Records. He'd be there, and you'd be like, "Dude, what do you got for sale?"
Mm,
Because he'd just bring a big duffel bag full of shirts.
right.
Or there'd be another guy there from Mexico that had like Cenotaph long sleeves and shit. But there'd always be like those guys that just had bags of stuff, but they weren't part of the show, but they'd bring all their stuff because that's how they sold it. So it'd be like, hey, you can have like this shirt, here's a fucking demo or CD, and like
Yeah,
give me
like a
40 bucks.
hand-to-hand distro. I've done.
Yeah.
I had to do that too when I was in my earliest stage of my record label.
Yep.
Just show up at shirts with like a box with like stuff in it. A bag,
And that was
be
the
like,
best too,
"Hey,
because
what's
you'd
up?
be
You
like,
want to
oh,
buy anything?
yeah, yeah, holy shit, what is that?
Yeah, people would
Just
buy
see all
stuff
the-
off me. I got
And then
beat
you'd
up
be like,
and my
20
bag
bucks for a
thrown at my head
Cenotaph long
actually one
sleeve.
time.
Now I'm like, why didn't I buy that long sleeve?
Yeah, I know. It's like, why didn't I buy that stuff? Sometimes, like, there's always, somebody taught me something years ago. I went to, rest in peace to him too, Jim Kanya, drummer from Nunslaughter, Minch. So I met him in Ohio, and then he was buying 2 tapes. Like, I was selling some tapes. He's like, let me get 2. And then like, and then I had something else, and he's like, let me get 2. And I was like, why are you buying 2, He's like, well, I bought 1 for me and 1 to trade. So he kind of taught me something at that stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I am going to fucking follow that because that is actually a hot move. If I have the dough, I'm going to buy that second tape,
I used to go
Especially
to
if it's
I used to
really
go to
cool.
shows with this older guy, and older, he was like 29 or something, and I was like 17 or something, maybe 18, and he would drive and he'd buy like, so say we went to Bolt Thrower, he would buy 3 shirts of every band, and he'd be like, this is
Wow.
one for me to wear, one for my collection, and then one for me for my heavy metal museum. And I was like, what the fuck's a heavy metal museum, dude? But now I'm like,
His
damn,
house.
yeah, now I'm like, this guy must be sitting on thousands of dollars in shirts. Because he would just buy everything every time he
Even
went.
just from those 3 bolt thrower shirts.
I know.
Right?
He just put a down payment on a mortgage
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
I'm like scraping to buy one fucking long sleeve. $22 shit. All
This
right.
guy comes home with 22 shirts.
Yeah, he did, man. He would, and then he would barely wear the shirts, and it's like, damn, that's crazy.
I
But
have a friend that's a little similar to that. He worked at a label though, and he had to put a lot of shirts in the hopper. And then he'll sell them at like the fucking maxo price, you know?
yeah,
He only wants the max price.
He can get it, so why not?
Yeah, I'm whatever. I mean, when I wanted money, I'll take it, you know? I mean, do I want to? I think, like you said earlier, the trade commodity is so much like better than like the sell commodity.
yeah,
What I can get from a trade, to me, the value of that, like I have access to something that I probably won't ever see again. Not forget about finding it for sale somewhere, but you know, the kind of stuff that I wouldn't sell, I would only trade, you know?
and there's stuff you can get like you don't even like. I had an OG gut shirt with like a Evo art, and this guy was just really wanted that shirt, and he's like, dude, I'll trade you my OG Geocide first press and vinyl and like some other, I think it was an Incubus Serpent Temptation for it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm never going to wear this shirt, like, honestly. And I got it from somebody, like, basically for like $5 or something. So,
Well, the super fan should have its super fan shit,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I'm a big fan of that too, like repatriating flyers to people. You
Right.
know, if you were at a show and I have a flyer and I wasn't there, I prefer that you had it. You know,
That's cool.
you know,
And I
It's-
think we're all into certain bands that other people really aren't into. So they're like, yeah, dude, you could have that because I'm not really into that, but I like this that you have, and
There's
you're not
that.
into that. as
Yeah,
much.
there's that too.
yeah,
Kind
like
of just works
so
out.
many bands that like people either don't know or think are dog shit, and I'm like, if you have anything, I'll trade you something
Yeah.
that is worth money for that. Like for instance, like this Eternal Hatred tape.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime I'll pay a lot of money for some Eternal Hatred stuff if anybody has it, by the way.
I'm not
It's hard to
familiar with
find
that,
now.
so that's always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's those
Trees
like
are always the
local
best.
bands.
Exactly, they are. See, I learned something on here too. That's what this show is about too, for everyone watching. But I think I get a lot of the same watchers on here, but I see other watchers additionally. So thank you for tuning in.
Yeah,
Basically, like, we go on here just to talk, and that way, if we can spread some kind of information about like unknown stuff, that's why I feel like that's why I stopped taking money for the show and all that super chatty stuff, because I was like, you know what? No. I was like, I'm not playing a bunch of other people's music. Like, I came on here to interview bands originally, I think. But then I was like, well, I can come on here and talk about stuff instead. I don't fucking know. It seems easy to me, so I don't, I might as well spread whatever,
Yeah.
And if it has to do with collecting, it's collecting. And if it has to do with playing music or telling people about bands or shows or fests or whatever is going on in my brain that week. So actually, shout out to John Grave, Death Compendium, on Instagram, because me and him did an IG live. He's probably going to be on my volume 2. So like me and him did an IG live, and we were just chopping it up about all this different like demo stuff, and like he was talking about like cutting out shit on his desk, and I was like, like he's like, well, I got all the stuff over there to cut out the stuff on my desk, and I'm like, oh man,
that's a cool thing too. Like I just talked to that same guy today, and he was like, dude, like I'm sorry I can't be on the show, but I'm gonna like watch it because we talk on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's off the grid today. He's like,
Yep.
oh my god. So shout out to him. The show's dedicated to him. He's been a compadre of mine anyway. But like, you know, like when you talk about fans and people that like really are passionate about like what the fuck they're into, that's super fucking cool, man. Even if it's not exactly what you like, right?
Just the enthusiasm of like watching people like what they like, you know?
It's contagious.
Especially on Instagram. Like during the pandemic, that's when I started posting my stuff. Couldn't go to shows, withdrawing from all of that.
Yep.
And just the amazing conversation that I've had, with collectors online is awesome. It's just really like, it's a really great community of people who are very into what they're into.
Right. And then they pull out those little trinkets, you know?
Right? It's like, what the fuck is that? Where'd you get that?
Like, they show like one extra tape in their collection, and I'm like, what's that one?
Like zooming in on pictures, just like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
that?
I'm like, I don't know that one, actually.
It's
I do
pretty
that on
funny.
people's posts all the time.
Funny too when I post stuff and they're like, "Hey, I see this in your background." I'm like, "What?" It's like, "Oh yeah, that's badass, man." And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, I have a bunch of tapes behind me. Occasionally I leave it loose, and then other times I don't. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't really want anyone to talk about what's behind me. Because there's
Yeah.
like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of merch. So
Yeah, sometimes you
I'll
forget
get
what you have like up.
distracted too easily. The
Yep.
people in the chat are more like there's someone talking about like a sticker I had on my fucking thing on the side. I'm like, I'm surprised you could see that, you know?
Yep.
Alexis, your collection is insane. You have so many amazing bands I love.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, for sure. Seriously, prices in general are unbelievably expensive, especially in recent years.
Yeah.
Especially for shirts.
Trading keeps that down, everybody.
Yeah. I feel like we're missing like a gray market that they're trying to shut us out of in like the overmarket. You know, like say like eBay. eBay was like a great, you could kind of get the gray market on there. But then it's like they try to shut it out. Discogs tries to shut it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like as time goes on, there might be, you know what I mean? It seems like there's a constant evolution for the collector.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you have to know people and
Yeah.
it's.
I
you
think
know,
one of the best ways to do it is like if you see somebody who has a bunch of stuff you like, give them like 10 bands that, and be like, what do you have that's like around this? And the stuff that gets sent back to me, like pictures, it's so much easier than like, any other way of like looking for stuff, in my opinion.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a smart one.
I mean,
I
people
might
send
have
me
to
stuff
impl-
all the time, but it's super crazy prices all the time. They're like, "Dude, you interested in this?" And I'm like, "Not for
No.
$250, dude." Like,
I get like too much stuff. Like
Yeah.
you should probably like say for me, I don't know if 10 bands would almost scare me. So like you'd have to hit me with like 5 or something.
Yeah.
To be like, what do you know, do you want to sell any of these 5 bands? Because I've had that numerous times. And sometimes I
Yeah.
look it over and I'm just like, there's so much to think about here because like
Yeah.
there's so many releases and there's so much stuff.
I also have a Google Doc that's just like a list of my holiest of holy grails that to certain people I'll send it and be like, what do you got?
Interesting. I mean, where is the community for that stuff? Back at one little junction, you kind of had like forums. Do you
Yep.
feel
Yeah.
like Instagram is the community for that?
I honestly, I think so. And just the people like, in real life, I'll go to a show and see someone with like a shirt that, nobody would, be interested in buying usually. And I'd be like, I can tell by what you're wearing that you have stuff that I want.
Right.
Someone walks into a show wearing a lubricant shirt and I know that they're going to have like weird Finnish promos,
Righto.
that have no market for the most part on eBay.
Yeah, they're like
You know.
completely.
Yeah.
I remember I got turned off by that guy from Lubricant because I sent him a tape and had like I was talking to him about Rochivore or something. He's like, Rochivore sucks. I was like, oh. I It's like, I'm not gonna write you back now.
Those are big words coming from such a band.
It just, you know, at the time I was just like, kind of like, oh, I guess we're not on the same plane, you know.
That's just
I've
how it
been
was
using
back then.
T-shirt Slayer to find rare stuff, and I've gotten some great stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Seems like a good resource spot.
Just even see someone who posts it and be like, this guy, you know.
It feels only like it's like 1/10 of what's out, like what I collect though. Because shirts, I actually gave up on shirt collecting because I started making shirts. So like collecting them, like I collect a few and I've saved a few, but I don't really collect shirts like I would collect shirts when I was younger, let's say. So like, you know, for me more now it's like, I think what I would say is right now I'm collecting like tapes, but I'm not actually trying to collect the old ones. I'm just trying to collect like whatever's new, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever looks, not whatever's new. Let me rephrase that. Whatever I think I'm actually gonna fucking listen to, basically, because I don't fuck with shit that I know I'm not gonna listen to.
What was the last tape you bought?
Undergang new album. So that was, I mean, sick as fuck, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Dripping Decay demo on Bandcamp. So Bandcamp is like pretty resourceful. Do any of you buy off Bandcamp?
Yeah, I do. Not as much as I should,
Right.
but yeah.
It seems like it's been a good resource. Like for, you know, I don't buy records too much. I'm more like the half price guy. I'm buying tapes basically.
Yeah, I like
So,
tapes.
But
Tapes
I
are
mean,
my thing.
I eyeball the records, and if it's a band I really, really like, then I'll get the record, you know?
Yeah.
Like if it's, you know, like say a New Incantation record, or like, you know, like I want like to get the Crucimentium on record because I thought it was good, you know. I know those guys. I think it's good. I'm like, I'm gonna get that on the record for them, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only problem is, and I'm gonna have to ask both of you, do you have the obsession where even though you got the record, you have to get the fucking tape, or you have to get the other thing, or the CD, or whatever?
And then
Depends
I have
on-
to get the promo for it, and then like, you know, that tour, and yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask the chat actually. Yeah, Dripping Decay is great. They have a new tape they had up. I have to ask the chat, what do you are you like that? Are you the obsessive collector types? You know what I mean? We're gonna play a video while you guys answer. This is coming from my man from Germany, Andrej. I spoke to him last night and I said, you know, my man, can you send me a video, a flick? And he brought this on. I think this is it.
What's up, folks? What's up, Death Metal Podcast? So, as you can see, this is the mostly dark shit. What can be better as death metal? Dark death metal. You have here original Solemn tape, which is pretty sick. You have here Artifact. This is a hand from Menneske the Undergang clip, which was used there, even this ice. This is Artifact from a tour when Blood Incantation and Spectral Voice went on tour. Those two sticks are from Transgressor 2023 at Killdown, and this is another bootleg tape from 2019 of Transgressor, so it's probably the most Artifact right now. VHS tape of Spectral Voice, my first experience and live show of Ripikulu in Finland, with all the details and demo stuff. This is pretty relict, same Demilich J card, cut and J card, autographed. This is the last set list, which was done by Cruciamentum when they was in Finland. Their last show in Finland. So, and those guys actually put one new album on Profound Law Records. Check this one. So this is mostly like little snippet of my artifacts and really, really crazy obscure stuff. Enjoy Death Metal Podcast.
Thank you, Andre. I know you'll watch the replay or you'll end up showing up. So, yeah, that was my friend Andre from Germany. He's been, going to a lot of festivals, going to Killtown Death Fest, probably all of them, going to Finland Death Fests, just getting around. So, he's been like tipping me off towards bands. I've been tipping him off, you know what I mean? So like, he's like you said, like somebody you meet on Instagram and then you like start talking and like exchanging like, hey, oh shit, like you like this, I like this, I like this, you like that, and then the next thing you know, like they become like a real person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I like that stage. Like I like meeting them, and I'm more into that.
Yeah.
So then, but because we video chatted and stuff, I felt like I had met him, So
Yeah.
it was like he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, Takashi from Japan just hit me up from Transgressor." He's like, "Do you want a video chat right now? I really wanted to go on the show." I was like, "Yo, man, I was just on for 6 fucking hours, dude, And I was like, "Well, I'll just I'll turn on the video chat thing if you want to talk, It was like 5 or 6 in the morning, so. And then he was talking for a while, and then he became like, a little more real to me, and it's important to feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like we were exchanging information. He was real to me, but like once we were video chatting, I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is my brother right here,
Yeah, it's like an entity, and then you like actually start, talking to people. And have you
Yeah.
ever been like really disappointed? Because I have not. I always find that people are,
Not really. I mean, if I connect with somebody, they have to be pretty genuine, because if they're a fucking pain in the ass, I ditch their ass. So, you know what I mean? Like, I had a genuine boy who's still my boy. I'll say it on here if he's watching. But, I had to disconnect from him because he got a little weirded out with me. So, but fucking, other than that, I mean, most of the connections that I make with people, they're, it's like, I'm a little closed. Like, no is my word, basically. So, like, you know what I mean? So you have to, like, have to definitely, I have to definitely fuck with you if I fuck with you, I don't know. I mean, as far as like the online side of things, like for me, maybe due to my age, I like kind of like, I'm like, can we just all just like meet somewhere? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's confusing because some people live on the West Coast. And then, you know what I mean? Like Dennis, like you're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Alexis, I saw you at St. Vitus, so I know you're on the East Coast. But you know what I mean? So like if you connect with people from like other states, like John Grave is from like Arizona, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck. Like we saw each other at Metal Threat, which was sick. So like, you know what I mean? So it's like we have our convergence places. Maryland Death Fest has always been a like convergence place for me, where I've met a lot of people that like would just roll into going to Maryland Death Fest.
Yeah.
And for me, that's 5 hours or whatever, 4 hours away. But I'm sure for you, Alexis, like since you live near St. Vitus, you must have so many different bands rolling through there trying to play that spot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm extremely lucky, to live where I do, and to have like grown up in New York. I mean, every band that comes to this country comes to New York. So even if I have to go like upstate or to the island, they're here. But yeah, especially post COVID, it's been amazing. An endless amount of shows with a lot of bands I didn't think I was going to get to see for a while.
Yeah, and it's been really tight. I mean, the amount of shows that have been rolling through. I feel like I have to be very selective. I mean, as far as you, Dennis, I mean, are you a big show goer? What's your
There's so I live close to Reno, Nevada right now, and there's some shows, but it's hit and miss. Like the last show I went to was Morbid Angel, and I mean but there's not a lot of shows here. But when I was in the Bay Area, I mean, I've lived here for about 3 years. I bought a house here,
right?
But in the Bay Area, dude, there was everything. I saw so many bands. Like you said, I had to be very selective because I could be going like every other weekend to like a show,
And they're not cheap anymore.
No, and
They're
there's
not
like
cheap like they were when I was going either.
I mean,
'Cause I
there's
lived
so many
right
good
outside New
bands
York.
and,
I was living right in New Jersey, so we would go to every show in New Jersey and New York, because everyone that played in New York wanted to play New Jersey as well. So
Yeah.
like basically like I had like a fucking, you know what I mean? I got the before show or the after show of everything, and I would probably go to both.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I started to count up after a while. I was like, well, I'm going to like 4 shows a week right now.
it gets a little bit ridiculous. I mean, but there's certain bands like that would come through like recently, not recently, but like a few years ago, like At War, who I'd never got to see. So that was awesome. Ripakula, I got to see.
Yeah, I didn't get to see them.
Yeah, just
Fuck.
I mean, Demolition Hammer, just those bands that I never got to see back in the days. Like,
Mm.
just going
Yeah,
to
Demo
those
cool
shows and
guys.
being, fuck, man, finally getting to see this band. Like Merciless, just shit like that. Like you never thought you'd get to see, and they'd come
Right.
through on a
Oh.
West Coast Death Fest or something like that.
With those
Yeah,
sadistic intent shows and the stuff that Mike was showing earlier, were you involved with it or going to any of that type of shit?
Tent
Me?
shows?
No, Analog Archive.
What do you mean by tent shows?
You know, like sadistic intent and those autopsy shows. Is that LA versus the Bay?
Yeah, I mean, I did
Okay.
see. I've seen Sadistic Intent a few times.
Mm-hmm.
They would always play the West. I mean, so I was in the San Francisco area, so
Okay.
they would always play that area. So I'd see Sadistic, but I hadn't known those guys from when I lived in LA. So I'm pretty sure I saw them in LA too, along with I think someone was telling me those bands back in the day, Blood Come, just those fucking old school bands from LA.
Isn't Blood Come like the brother of like the guy from Slayer or some shit?
Yeah, it's Tom Araya's brother.
Okay.
But yeah, they're a killer
still
crossover
didn't
band
buy
that
the
really
record.
no one really knows, man. They're really good.
Yeah, I didn't buy that one.
The demo, dude, get the fucking demo.
Get
They're
the
on
demo.
that like Wild Rags put out a demo series. It was like where they put out like 4 different. I think one of them was Preacher. I think I have the flyer.
Mm.
All right, I'll find the flyer. You guys don't.
Flyers. Here we go.
I think I have part of it here. I have a whole stack of
Oh
Wild
wait,
Ride
you
stuff.
can hold that up. My friend drew that. Art Gore. Yeah, the Impetigo.
Oh, I love this one. And then
Love this
I
good
love
shit.
this.
Nuclear
Yeah.
Death.
And it's like,
I met Richard C. in Richard C. in a parking lot at fucking Milwaukee Death Fest. He drove there with his van, and he had merch. So it was cool, definitely cool. I never got to go to Wild Rag's store.
oh yeah.
Definitely a fan of the Wild Rags label. Yeah, Order from Chaos.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I love that band.
Yeah. I didn't upload my photo Order from Chaos. I got to see them with Incantation.
Here's here's a really old one.
Oh wow.
Wow, dude.
And that one I think this was when they were first like doing the newsletter. It was like Toxo Death, Dorsal
Oof.
Death,
Yeah, Toxo Death.
and then like I think Humanicide, Gamacide, Invocator.
It always made me wonder what
I had
the
that
band
same one
sounded
too,
like,
that
but I
Art
never
War one.
pulled the trigger on some of that stuff.
Yeah, man. Here's another old one too.
A retailer's nightmare. Oh, this is
Yeah.
the one I think I caught on because
Oh, really?
Thrash. Because I see like
Oh yeah,
Hell
because it has
Witch.
sadistic intent in it too.
Yeah, Hell Witch.
Hex.
Like we were panning into those impending dooms, and like before that though, I have a photo uploaded, which obviously I don't have everything. Where the fuck is it? Like I was writing with Blasphemy, so like
Oh, wow.
those guys invited me to the Ross Bay Cemetery to do a fucking ritual or some shit. Like I don't want to disclose about the letter, and I'm never gonna show it to anybody. But like,
I love that you're
there
not.
was some shit that was like, you know what I mean? Like they made this shit seem so much more like satanic than things
Right.
were, you know. And I'm gonna show some other stuff on here that you're gonna fucking shit yourselves. But like, basically, like at the time, like when you're into like death and black metal, the more evil the fucking band that writes you, the more like you're fucking into it. You're like 100% into
I
it.
was
you
so
know?
much into that fucking demo. I have that shirt too, but it's a black one. On the back it says like black metal skinheads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually got that at Wild Rags too. Because he was distributing the Blasphemy stuff at the time.
He was I mean those guys they had that demo. It was called Blood Upon the Altar.
Yeah,
And I
I'll
don't know how
grab
I
it.
found about it, but basically like years ago there was this thing that I got that I don't know if the chat is familiar too, which I should go back to answering you guys' question, but like years ago, like when I was younger, they had this thing, it was called pen
Hell yeah,
bangers. And like
Fuck
this was
yeah.
in Metal Forces, which
Yep.
was like a Euro mag that they sold in the United States. And like those little articles right there, sometimes they wouldn't put like a bunch of bullshit where they said Venom fan, blah blah blah. They would put like 1,000 band names.
Yep.
So like all of a sudden, like you would hone in on all those band names super hard. It was the first time I had heard the band names of like so many different like earache type bands.
Hell yeah.
All the crust UK shit. Some Japanese fucking like hardcore, like that type of scene. There was like the whole Finnish hardcore stuff. I think I had learned a lot of that through like just like that Metal Forces. But I didn't know exactly what the fuck it was either at the time.
Yeah, I
The
used
way
to
they
trade.
listed the bands together.
I used to trade through Pen Bangers and Metal Maniacs too. Like those were like I would
Right.
write in, and then people would send me these giant ass lists. Here's that Blasphemy demo,
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Yeah,
and it's
Blood Upon the
yeah,
Altar.
man, check it out. It came on the has like just a label on it, sticker
Yep.
label. It's actually a nice layout for a band that was like
They had a really
kind of
nice
just
demo.
starting out. Like it had like a nice cardboard sleeve to it.
Yeah, they had a nice ass demo.
Yeah, and I love that demo, and I bought the shirt. Also had that Profanica.
Profanatica.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
even
that's
know how I got this. Like, dude, like this wasn't even in my wheelhouse, but somehow I ended up getting this through a tape trade. So
That's a treat though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably their best stuff, so
this is
I
the
mean,
shit right here, man.
in my
It's the
opinion.
Slaughter Lord demo.
Holy
Ooh. Oh.
God damn.
Man, this demo fucking rules.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Love
I,
it.
yeah,
some
I think I have
super-
like one Slaughter Lord thing. That's definitely one of the hardest bands to find.
Pretty
Yeah.
super hard Australian.
Every time I did tape trading, everybody asked to get this. Like, can you tape me the Slaughter Lord? It's still to this day, if I'm doing a tape trade, they're like, can you do me the Slaughter Lord? Like, because I want a good copy of it.
Yeah.
This
It
might
always has,
sound
like, a-
weird, but like I feel
Yeah.
like I got a lot of people into Demolich for some reason. Like I
Really?
had gotten that tape, and I had taped that for like everybody, you know. And I would like all these dudes in Ohio were all into it and all this shit because I tape traded with like a bunch of Ohio people. And then I noticed those guys just spread the shit out like everywhere, you know.
Yep.
It's just like if you're like a first mover with the band, and then like say you just like spread their stuff around as a friendly gesture, or they're your friend or something, you know what I mean? It's
Especially
like
Finnish stuff. You know,
Yeah.
not everybody's listening to Finnish stuff. So I think that they're definitely, you know, it's easy to get people into Finnish stuff because they're not.
Right.
Yeah, especially back in the day, no one listened to that stuff. Like you're like,
Or
dude, you check out
Swedish,
the
really, or Norwegian.
Unibray or whatever it is, and they're like, what are you talking about?
What's up, Rob Selena? How's it going, brother? I know you're a hardcore collector like us, so thank you for joining the chat.
Like Wolves in the Throne Room. Mortal Sin, sorry. Steve Hughes.
Oh yeah, Mortal
Yeah.
Sin from
I
Australia.
love that band.
Yeah, they're
Mortal
they're
Sin
pretty
was
old
I think
school.
Steve Hughes was in Slaughter Lord, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Cool, man.
One
It's
of
funny.
the guys went on to do like comedy, right?
One
I don't
Yeah,
of them
know if
went
that
they
on
was
to
have.
do a
Steve
Christian
Hughes.
band,
Oh, was
I
it?
thought.
He's funny.
Yeah, he'd ended up doing like he was a comedian.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an Australian band that had like my friend Damo from Corpse Molestation, BC or Warlock? He told me that some dude went to do like a Christian band. He was like in the death metal thing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it was Slaughter Lord though.
I never understood the Christian like thrash or death metal, but I mean even like that. What was that band though? Was it Horde or the black metal Christian band?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I maybe thrash I get, but that, you know, that's a little.
I mean, you had like Mortification. They were pretty big.
Yeah,
I think.
Mortification. That's the name that sticks in my mind a little. I
Yeah.
didn't get that Nuclear Blast comp. I was already out of it by then. I was out of it.
Oh yeah, I do
Analog.
have the Nuclear Death demo.
Do you have Lucifer's Hammer or Nuclear Death demos?
I have the Lucifer's Hammer, but it's a repress. I have the original Nuclear Death, and it comes with a business card, which is hilarious.
Yo, Stefan Goldberg, last week, the drummer from Nuclear Death was in the chat, actually. So we were trying to coax him to come on.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, isn't it, who's that, Joel? Like, I noticed the screen name, and I was like, yo, are you in Nuclear Death? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you wanna come on the show, you know?
Yeah, Paramecium. That shit ruled. I love Paramecium.
Yeah, he said he just played on the first record in the demos. But I was like, yeah, that's sick.
I'll see if I can grab it real quick.
It's just interesting the freaks that come out at night to, like, you know, like mess with this show, which I think is cool, you know, like, we're on here mostly just to spread shit, and I run a record label, but I don't try to, like, push my fucking shit.
Nuclear
I just
Death
want to talk
demo.
about metal.
I think this
Yeah,
one is the one with the bit. I have two versions of this.
Phil Hampson art.
Oh, this one comes with like a full fold out, and this comes with a lyric sheet. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Lori Bravo. I
Yeah.
saw was trying to record a new thing.
Yeah.
She's an interesting character. I wouldn't mind talking to her.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she played a show that I saw, and like they set up the stage real eerie, and like they took like these like baby dolls and they put them on nooses, and they had like blood all over their faces and everything, and they like hung them up all over the place, like in front of the stage kinda, and then they went on, and like Lori was like half like bloody and shit. It was just real fucking noisy. It was pretty fucking chaotic show. Like, it was one of the earlier shows that I saw that was like more like, you know what I mean, like chaotic and kind of spooky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is sick because like I got to witness it only like 5 feet away too. So like that was a difference too. It wasn't like, you know, when you're younger, the shows were like super far away. Like if you go to like a fucking arena and shit, you know.
Yeah.
The band is like 1,000 miles away. Like you're staring at them on like a screen or something.
Yeah, two bands I saw that had like Vital Remains. Like when I saw them, they had like tiki torches and like pig heads or something on the stage, like a lot of blood and cloaks. And then
cool.
I don't know if you guys know a band called Vaughn.
Vaughn, yeah.
Yeah, I saw them play, and they had like the guy would like put on a mask. I think they've only played a couple shows, and I just happened to get to see them in Oakland when they played. which was cool. But they had a pretty cool stage show too. But everybody hated them, dude.
There's
Everybody
my man
hated
from Vital Remains right here, Joe Lewis.
Yeah.
Apparently, you know, he might have been setting those tiki torches up. Shout out to Joe, man. It was good hanging with you, bro. I'll be back up in Rhode Island soon. I don't know about for Mortician. I might have wrote off going to shows for this year.
I don't know. Mortician plays on the 8th.
They play enough. So, getting back to the some of the stuff I wanted to show a couple things and talk about. I don't know, Dennis, I'm going to talk to you on this one. Did you ever used to get things like this? Because, like, I mean, you've probably seen these too, Alexis. I don't know if you're younger. Where bands would, like, hand out fucking addresses so you could try to, like, write to all these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this was, like, so resourceful and weird and cool because, like, when bands spread that info, I mean, I was a little maniac. So, like, I would send letters to, like, a lot of these people and just be like, hey, what's going on? You know, do you have demos or do you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to see, like, well, you know, do you have merch or something? I wanna buy some stuff, you know.
Trying to make sure none of these have actual addresses on them. That, you know, but there's some PO box ones like this Hell Witch.
Yeah, a lot of the stamping too.
Yeah.
Back stamping. That was a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you got those back stamped flyers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't I had something. This might interest you, Alexis, sorry.
I can't see that at all. Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these guys sent this to me like years ago.
I have a couple of those, not that version. I don't think I've ever seen that version of it. Let's see. That's awesome.
Paul Ledney, shout out to Paul Ledney.
Oh, like this, like
you fucking
these on,
freak.
like this one.
Hold on a sec. Nocturnus.
Yeah.
2-sided shirts, $8.
Yeah, and then
Mike here, sorry, but send me free demos out. Can you still order shirt? Hope to hear from you again. For sure.
Yeah. That one I love.
It's cool. I had it was a chain letter or some bullshit.
Oh shit, I have one of those too.
This was something I had gotten. This is like a Wild Rags party.
Yeah.
Tonight's a Wild Rags party.
Nice.
So I guess this is like a
I like that one.
that they would pass out back
Is
then.
it 2-sided?
No, there's no letter on the back, but as you can see, there is that purple shit. Whatever the fuck I was sticking it to the wall with. What do they call that? Fun tack or something?
Yeah, I had died a little bit inside when you were like sticking it to the wall with blue tack.
Let me see here. This was that Chinese store show I was talking about with Profanatica. This is the original flyer from the show.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Actually, Necrosion played too. It just doesn't say it on the flyer. Rest in peace, Ronnie Dio. Remember when we ate egg rolls during the Profanatic shit? That was fucking hot. We planned it out.
This one's cool. Check this out. This is this band Desecration, but on the back is a stamp for Inverted. The band Inverted.
Desecration UK, right?
Yeah, and then Inverted put a stamp on the back, which is weird.
I have a bunch of those where, like, you know, someone will be in, like, distributing from one band, and put a bunch of like, their stamp on a bunch of other flyers when they send it out.
Yep.
And through that, I mean, it really helped build a network of people, you know what I mean? That was kind of the coolest part of it all. This episode rules? No problem, brother. Hopefully everyone's enjoying in the chat. Sorry if I'm like ignoring the fuck out of you. Recipients of death. Yeah, necrophagia NA. LA, I'm sorry. All my vital remains demos, and I don't have any of my own demos. Sorry to hear that, brother. I think that happens to a lot of band people.
Yeah, I've totally like traded with people who've been like, I played that show, I don't have that. And,
yeah,
like,
that's happened to me. I mean, after running it, or doing a record label thing, it was like kind of like I can't keep everything. Like I don't even want to in a weird way. Like I'd rather spread it out a little bit.
Ooh.
This was probably got this from like Primeval or something in one of the letters. So the manifestation, awesome. I bought the demo because I had heard the first demo from my friend. So
that's in great condition.
For some reason, I kept a lot of my stuff. I don't know. Oh, shout out to Francisco. I got to show his video. I got a poem. It's written about the axiom by Nikki. So I'm going to have to read this to you guys sometimes. It says something about dead horse or some shit.
Yes.
Shout out to Nikki and whoever gave me this poem. In 91, I believe, at one of the axiom shits. I was trying to see if I have the that chain letter I wanted to show you. I could show you something a little interesting too, since we're on the subject. This is what I was talking about too. Someone said, what are one sheets? So I would consider this to kind of be like a one sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a biography or just one fucking paper. It's 8.5
That's kind of like
by
my
11.
favorite stuff that I have.
Yeah, so here's the old Vital Remains fucking bio with Jeff Gruslin as the singer. So they wrote to me. There's nothing on the back. They wrote to me, and I wrote to them, and obviously they sent me the fucking bio, Promote the band.
This one sheet is one of my favorites.
Mythic.
Nice.
And it's like, well, it's not one sheet. It's it goes through and like talks each like member about like their influences, like shit they hate about shows, hobbies, favorite bands, favorite underground bands.
That's like a personal biography about the band.
Nice.
Which is cool. Oof.
Nice.
Immolation. The old Immolation that has Neil Bobach's or the P.O. Box address on there.
Yeah, and it's with a lyric sheet.
Oh, that's crazy. In yellow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
I don't think I have very many yellow.
I don't think I've ever seen that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wrote to Immolation. I had one thing that sometimes I'm just showing a scan because I have like over 100,000 flyers basically. So like these just happen to be in my. This was one of my photos actually.
Nice.
I know it ended up on some record, but I took this at Coney Island High when Craig Smilowski was still in the band. They had an old Immolation biography. They used to pass it out with the. They would pass it out with the demo or whatever.
All right, hold on 1 second. I have an Immolation thing I gotta get.
So here we go. Here
I think the craziest one I have is the.
This is it right here.
One.
Fucking, it's all yellow and shit. That's how you know the stuff's real too, right?
Right.
Like if it's yellow, it's probably more real because
it's old as shit.
The stuff is old,
Yep.
Mythic, for sure. And then as far as like having old stuff like this, like it takes a long time to just chill with it. Obviously, you know what I mean. I would show. I would.
There's an Acheron one I have.
Oh yeah, the Acheron bio. And that's
Yeah,
kinda
but
has
it's
the
like a massive, dude.
written
Like
out.
it's
Yeah.
2 pages, then it has like art and
Huh.
t-shirts on the back you can order, more stuff. It's like
All right.
4 pages, and then like finally like a photo of the band,
Interesting.
which is cool. But like they went through a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, I wrote to Batham and Asheron, but they had really gone crazy with that. Cool. That's definitely cool shit. Alexis, this is what I was trying to show you. This was like passed out with the old
Oh wow,
demos.
yeah, that one's like one of my favorite.
Yeah,
Promos.
yeah. And because it's yellow, right?
Yeah,
You know it's real and shit.
this is what I went to get.
All right, bring it on.
Oh,
First
It's
sick.
demo shirt.
It's the first one.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Sick.
I always wanted that shirt.
I always wanted that too. You have that.
Oh, sorry guys.
Okay,
Oh,
I
that's
have one
cool,
of the original first. I have one of the first possessed shirts.
Yeah,
so.
when John was here, they were like filming the Incantation documentary, and he said he sold one of those on eBay for $1,300.
Oh, I believe it, man.
And ugh,
Right.
that's crazy.
Do you guys ever get confused about what to do with rare shirts? You know,
No, because I'm just keeping them. So
right.
like
'Cause,
I'm
like,
not gonna.
sometimes-
I mean, unless there's something I really need. But at this point in my life, like I'm pretty self-sufficient. I can buy like something as long as it's not like extremely like a high amount of money. But like
Right.
there's a lot of stuff I could just like buy. I don't really need to trade anymore. But every once in a while, like I'll just like I said, if there's something I don't really care for, but somebody else is like, oh, dude, I really like that. And I'm like, well, what do you have that I like that, you know, it could even be like a horror VHS tape or like something that is not even metal that I collect.
Right.
So, I mean, I can go that route as well. Like, hey, man, I see that you have this, like, you know,
When I
fucking
started going
Reanimator
through the
poster
show,
or
do this
something.
show, I started finding all my other fucking collectibles and shit. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I mean, I think that's another show, but I have a
Yeah.
whole stack of like horror stuff too from when I was like VHS trading back in the day.
Same. It's weird that some people, like, I would think to myself, like, there are no additional people that are like collecting bios and like different stuff. Like, where does your mail go? Like, do you throw it out? Like, you
Yeah.
know, like, how are people? Because it doesn't seem like say like us that we're on the show, like talking about like here's this and here's that, and you know, like
Yeah.
here's this paper from fucking like 35 fucking years ago, a piece of fucking paper. You know what I
Right.
mean?
My
So,
bad.
like, we're talking about a piece of paper from 35 years ago. But, like, I wonder, like, where the fuck does the rest of it go? Or is there just, like, a couple? Is that what it is?
Well,
You know?
I think there's a lot of people that still have that stuff. Like,
Mm.
I think Alexis was talking about was like they're just, hey, I have this stuff, but I don't want it. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to think like some people just grab that stuff. You can even think tomorrow some guy can be cleaning out his garage and be like, oh shit, here's that immolation like flyer I had. Throw it in the trash. You know what I mean? They just don't care. Like,
I mean, there have been plenty of times, and I do feel like slightly guilty, where you can tell someone's mom cleaned out their house
yeah,
and is selling the first bolt thrower shirt for $40.
right.
Like, that's how I got that shirt. And there was like this very tiny part of me that wanted to be like, don't sell this because he's gonna get mad. You know, but I think
They
a
might
lot
have thought
of
it was worth $40.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter.
yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
It's
if they
worth
had
what
a
you
price
pay.
for $40,
Right.
it
Yeah.
was $40.
Yeah.
They must have thought it was worth something because they didn't sell it to you for $1.
Yeah, right.
So
Right. I mean, it
you
is.
shouldn't
It's
feel so
worth.
bad now.
It's worth what somebody pays for it,
Yeah.
right? Like
It
we all
is.
think, oh, this is worth so much money, but is it really? I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not really worth anything. It's worth what somebody will pay for it. Like
Right.
for us, like we're like, holy shit, that's a grail. To somebody else, it's garbage. It's their
It can
path.
be.
So it's like,
Or yeah, a band they don't like, and you know,
Exactly.
I mean, I think there's bands that we don't like that we might have stuff from that we're just like, I don't.
Oh, I know I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there could be, and then there's somebody else out there that's like, I'm the biggest Exit
I
13
showed
fan
someone a
ever.
deicide
Give
thing,
me
and
that
they were
stuff.
like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I don't even fuck with them," you know. But I mean, if they do, I understand. Like,
Yeah.
if you show
I
me
mean,
a
everybody has
Necro
different
thing I
tastes.
never saw, then
Yeah.
like, you're gonna pique my attention.
And I think that's how like trading goes. Like, hey man, I have this, but I really like that.
Yeah.
And can we like work something out? I mean, I
I
get
hope you guys in
emails
the
all the
chat
time.
too can work some shit out. Maybe you guys could start your own little. We need to start some kind of like tape trading market or
Like
I
a
don't know.
forum.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm heavily into Polish bootlegs. If anybody has any cassettes,
Mm.
I got you.
Funny shit. The there's so many like different things that people definitely collected. So like, you know, like over time, like I had to show this because I feel like, you know, kinship to one of these guys at least, Mark Riddick and his brother.
Oh,
hell,
So like they sent me this photo when they were young lads, you know.
yeah,
They had just started their first fucking band and shit, and you know what I mean. It was cool
is it
to
a Phantasm shirt?
Yeah, he's wearing a Phantasm shirt. Speaking of Australia earlier,
Whoa, the Crucifier
Simon
shirt.
from Acheron had sent me this back in the day.
That's
I used to
awesome.
write to Acheron, the Australian Acheron, before
Yep.
they became a Bremelin. So this was a pretty fucking destructive photo and shit.
Yeah.
If you want to go down to Finland, I got these Finnish dudes chilling out on the staircase. This is this is a Dremelic.
Yeah.
If you're familiar.
Yeah, they're amazing
yeah.
bands.
Super fucking young, obviously. So yeah, these were just photos just sent to me through just like writing to people, and then they would just send you like, "Here's our band," you know. They always laugh because there's this one drummer. He's a drummer from Demigod, and he did like a second band. It was called Disinterment. And then he did a photo shoot, and it was just him. And it says Disinterment on the back, and he goes, "I am freezing in the snow alone." And I always just laugh because it was just him, and he's just there. He's like, he's got his fucking like.
that was the
Kinda
cool thing
Finnish
about those
garb
bands.
on.
They'd all be wearing like striped sweaters or something. And you're like, what the fuck?
What's up, Aaron? How's it going? What's up, Derek? Too. Sorry, brother. How's it going, man? Yeah, cheers. Hey, Noea. Sorry, I'm like avoiding the chat. I just haven't given a fuck. I mean, you know, if you guys are listening to the conversation, obviously you could, you know, I know everyone on here is an obsessive fucking hoarder anyway. So, Adrenaline is the best band in Finland. Personal favorite.
I have like
I'd
an
love to
entire
get
stack. Yeah.
The Vader demo tapes. They're my favorite death metal band.
I have some Vader stuff.
Yeah, I
Morbid
had the
Light.
demo. One of them. What's up, Brian Sekula from Terror and Vadiant? What's going on, brother? Necro, Adremelik and Necrobiosis. Yeah, you don't hear that name too much.
No.
Yeah, the show I think showed photo I showed was pre Bremelin, so they were still.
These I'd have to say are like some of my favorite Finnish things. Like this tape, this Garsharat tape, amazing, unbelievable. Cerebrum, unbelievable stuff.
Cool stuff. I never saw those.
Yeah, you would probably really love this.
I mean, I've seen that one before, actually.
Yeah.
I wrote to them, but they didn't write me back. I didn't want to say anything, but...
Well, you ruined it.
I mean, you know, yeah, sorry. Sorry to be the negative Nancy in the room.
I mean, sometimes you never got a response. You'd like, right?
I mean, you know, if you didn't get a response, you didn't get a response, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying the guy could have moved. He could have went to the military. His grandma could have thrown the letter out. What the fuck do I know? Maybe he didn't know what to write, you know? He's like, I can't speak English. Like, how
Yeah, there were a lot of guys that couldn't write back. They were like, what are you talking
They would always say, sorry about my English. And I'm
Yep.
like, get the fuck out of here. I still hear that to this day from other people from other countries. Sorry about my English.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you, crazy? I live
Like,
in
I don't
America.
speak any of the language you speak. Like,
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like
At
we
least you
speak
can
a
speak
crazy
some
dialect.
English.
Putrid is God forsaken. I got the rehearsal day and demo back when they switched.
yeah.
Yeah, Morbid Reich is on CD. You need the tape and the vinyl though. So obviously, like I said, motherfuckers need the tape, the vinyl. If it's your band, it's your band,
Yep.
I mean, I'm like that too. If it's certain bands, like I'll get super into, and then I want to collect more of their stuff. Sometimes I'll even buy the shirt if I don't even have if I can't take the size. So that's when you know that you got a problem.
Yeah, now there's like boots of everything on eBay.
Yep.
So you could like look up the most like obscure band and be like, how the fuck do you have that? Like, and you have it
Man,
in a
it's-
small or, like, it's like,
You got
you
it
know.
through 6X.
Yeah,
Like
right.
the guy from China that just has some random.
is.
Yeah.
You're like, why do you have this?
And it's always like, the picture is always like the original vintage shirt.
Yep.
And then you go and drop down to like every size. It's just,
Yeah, exactly. I've seen that shady ass shit.
yeah.
I never bought anything like that though. Anyone? Have
I
any
got an
experience
Angel
with
Corp
that?
shirt like that because,
You got something?
I got an Angel Corp shirt like that
Mm.
because, I'm not paying Angel Corp's money for shirts.
Or you just
I got it.
wanted it? I get it.
Yeah. Yeah,
got a
it's so
hella-
good.
I got
It's
a
an
Hella
Exterminate
Weight shirt. I wanted the original like pentagram with the Hella Weights, like the demons on the back. Tour 85. I got one just so I
got a
could
pretty
wear it.
shady
I have an
So good.
original.
shirt
but
myself.
When I was a kid, I cut off the fucking sleeves and the bottom because I wanted like a half shirt. So, yeah, I'm not, and it's super small, but I wanted that shirt to like have, and it's a decent print. You can tell it's digital though. It's a digital,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
but it's just cool to have.
You know what? You know what's going on actually? They have robots just going over like eBay or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And they just suck information out because they'll stick any logo on there. Because I saw like they had shirts with just Windows logos on them. I'm like, what the fuck would anyone even need that for?
Can I get an AOL.com?
Yeah, I know. Like, let me get an
I feel like-
AOL.com shirt.
There's probably an AOL shirt in one of our houses somewhere.
sure.
Since I don't feel like we throw things away.
Well, I have like 5 free of the fucking downloads in a box.
Like the
The
CDs.
disc.
The CD.
The fucking disc. They only gave you like 200 of them. Angel Corpse rules. Red bubble.
CD collector
Yep.
all the way.
Yeah, I don't really usually fuck with those, but I saw people remaking Slayer shirts and redoing the colors and everything, like Indonesians.
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yep.
Yeah.
They get really deep, like he'll show like the test prints and everything.
They're doing like 6 color prints and stuff like that. Like really expensive prints.
And then, I mean, if it's screen printed, like there is a color matching thing going on. So, like, you have to, like, color match it, the computer's not doing it. But it's cool to see that someone actually is that deep into it, that they would make the shirt so authentic, but at the same time, not try to say, like, hey, I'm fucking you, because I'm selling you a $400 eBay shirt. I'm selling these for fucking, like, I don't know, $35 or some shit,
I saw somebody do that with the Crumbsuckers, Life of Dreams, like exact replica. And it was just like so much detail to like make it look like the exact shirt. And he was selling it for like $25. It wasn't like super high.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
he's doing limited presses, but the detail to it is like, this is going to be just like the original shirt. So it's super cool when people do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
I like those too. I like when I like when it's out, when it's accessible and then it's in my size. There's two things. It's just that I don't like. Have you noticed as like collectors or people that buy or trade whatever that like all of a sudden like damn man, I got no more money, man. You're like, I would really love to buy that $120 fucking box set right now, but I cannot.
New merch. I can't afford new merch. Like I tapes are very accessible, but like I can't remember the last time I bought a hoodie at a show for $50.
Right.
Like it'd be really like nice to be able to go and buy 3 of every shirt for every band that's playing. I've
never done that.
Forget that. I just want people to make flyers. for shows that are happening. What
Yeah,
am I
which
supposed to do in
stopped
20
happening.
years? You know? So,
Which
yeah.
stopped happening once the more MySpace came out and Facebook and where everything turned into like a digital invitation. So
Yep.
suddenly
Yeah.
you have a flyer, but you don't actually have a printed out flyer version of it.
Yeah.
You know.
I can't, I think I've gotten in the last like 6 months, maybe 2 physical flyers. It's like a Morpheus Descends All Out War flyer. And then like, I don't even know what the other one was, you know? So.
You know what? As a record label owner, like I'm going to keep that in mind. Actually, I mean, I have passed out flyers of bands that are on our shit. So like, I can't say that I've been making paper flyers because I pass out flyers with a lot of our orders and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I want them to be on people's walls in their rehearsal space.
Yeah.
Just to feel special when they open up the goddamn package, you know?
I do love that. Like, I do, when I'll like trade with somebody, I love like putting in extra stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You open it up and you're like, oh, wow, there's a sticker in here and like, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, that never gets old. It never. Like is less, it's like always childlike fun to do.
Even if you get enough mail, it could be like childlike fun.
Yeah.
Especially incoming. But yeah, like lately I've been like, ugh, fucking dying. Just here and there, you know, like you have to choose your battles.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, a split incantation autopsy 7-inch. So I'm like, okay, so you know, like I have to get it, you know, like certain things though I have passed on, you know. I'm just like,
When that like Zeisma box set came out, I really was upset. I missed that. That was dumb of me.
I mean, still don't have it. I almost bought it like so many times.
Yeah.
Had it in the shopping cart. That's when you know.
Same.
Yeah, that's when you know.
I had that too, but I think I have most of that stuff, so it's not like I have to get it.
There's something on there I don't have, so that's why I want it. Too.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I have the full length and the demo and the 7-inch.
Yeah, I have the original demo.
Yeah.
I don't know where
That swarming of the maggots, that thing's sick.
I mean, those, they would write letters to me. They sent me a promo demo of the before, when they started rocking the fuck out, too, you know?
Yeah, when they went like super weird.
Have you listened to their new stuff?
The demo didn't get released, like, until just like a year or two ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what? I mean, I'm not going to try to flex here, but like I was listening to Zizma and hanging out with Relapse basically. So anyway.
Oh.
So yeah, it's OG swarming of the maggots.
So good.
Right from Janitor too. I wrote to every member of Zizma because I'm a fucking idiot. And
yeah,
I would write to more than one member of the band sometimes, because I felt like I don't know, like I would be like, well, I'll write to this if they're, you know what, their address is on there, so
right.
I'm like, that means I could write to another member there, you know.
There's a 7-inch.
Yeah, oh, so good.
Yes,
what is this?
Graphic Decay.
Yeah, it's on like this weird like lavender.
And you know the real deal because you see that little yellow lip like on your 7-inch, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have like they never seem like they repressed that particular 7-inch.
They had like, I think they had multiple colors. I think like even the cover was like, I think they did like a yellow cover too of that same 7-inch. Like Seraphic Decay, like they put so many, like I don't know where they got the money to press all these different 7-inches, but they would do like 5 pressings of one 7-inch with different colored vinyl and sometimes a different colored cover. And yeah, man, I
know. We went to fucking Steve O'Bannon's house, myself and Incantation. Actually, Brian from Terror is there. He's in the chat. So like, we smashed up his fucking outside of his house. These guys wanted their masters back. And we sat outside his cash machine too. I remember that. He's like, Brian's like, sometimes he comes and gets cash from this machine right here. So we literally sat in the fucking parking lot to see if Seraphic Decay dude was gonna fucking show up, which he did not. And if he was in his house, he's a fucking pussy. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Because like we were banging on his door and kicking it and shit. We're like, come out here. There's probably nobody home. It was
I've
fun
never
though.
heard a story about him that wasn't like that.
I never met him. I mean, no one, like, he's like an enigma to all of us, including the people in those bands. But at least we tried, right? We ripped up his cable bill.
You ain't paying cable this month, buddy.
Yeah, fuck your cable bill and your mailbox. But yeah, I mean, we probably could have got arrested being out there, but I mean, it was fun while it lasted, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, Seraphic Decay. I mean, they put out a lot of cool stuff. Like you said, like, where the fuck did you get the money from?
Right? I was like, dude, like,
He
even
took me
I think,
off. So, regardless of what I just said, the guy from Seraphic Decay actually tipped me off to say, I was like, yo, where do you get your records made, bro? So he had
Yeah.
written me a letter back and said, I get them made at Bill Smith Custom Records in California. So then I got my first records made at that spot,
Oh,
which
that's
was
awesome.
Ceremonium, Nightfall in Heaven. So the prices were good there. They were like 45 cents a 7-inch, maybe like 55 cents for color.
oh, nice.
So this was in like, you know, the 90s, so
Yeah.
early 90s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have like a fucking flyer from that ceremonium that you did from
Right.
way back.
Well, that sounds good to me because that means I did my job, right? I flyered. As far as like some other flyers I have in my collection that I have scanned but never show anybody, there was like people in bands that had like their own fanzines, like
That's nice.
Harold from fucking Immortal, and this was his old fanzine, Bad Taste, with
Oh, nice.
Carcass, Paradise Lost, Entombed,
Tyrion.
Ethereon, yeah, Rotting Christ, Abhorrence.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, like look at the bands on there. And
Yeah,
Okay.
wow.
so, you know, like if you have any doubts about like Immortal or anything, like obviously the guy was super into it. What's up, brother? I got your video. I don't think we showed it. Maybe
Yeah, I
we should
got
show
this,
it now.
this one from
Let's show it
Steve-O.
anyway. The Uniforce book?
Yes.
Oh, that's the
Steve-O.
original OG zine.
Yeah. From Steve-O from Impetigo. He did that one.
Wild shit.
So I knew this guy that knew Steve-O. That's how I got all my Impetigo stuff. He was in New York and I traded with him and we did a zine together, like a horror zine.
$2.
Yep, $2.
That's cool.
And I think,
though.
fuck, dude, Billy from Razorback put this out like a Uniforce.
Yeah,
he
that's what I
did,
thought
like,
you
the
were showing
first-
at first.
He did like fucking 8 issues or something, all in one thing. But
Right.
it's fucking great. If
That's
you guys
how I got
haven't-
in touch with Zizma. Because
Oh,
their-
yeah.
their fucking address was in there. In the number
Oh yeah,
7
dude.
or whatever.
Dead,
the fuck
remember
it
Dead
was.
Conspiracy?
Oh yeah, Dead Conspiracy. Yeah, they had this pretty sick demos.
Hell yeah. That was one of those bands I bought a different band named Dead Conspiracy
Mm.
that were like a thrash band. And I was like, what is this? This doesn't sound like death metal.
So we're
And-
gonna show Putrid Beeson his fucking video. Actually, no. Let me show my man Francisco's video. He wanted to talk about 7-inches though.
All right, here you go, Roy. I just grabbed a handful of 7-inches. Kind of show I know you're probably going to have a lot of people submitting videos, so I just grabbed a few. I'm going to go through them. Starting off with this Napalm Death Live bootleg 7-inch. I've kept that original like red plastic sleeve since I got it way back when. This classic Scream Deformity, right? Pungent Stench. Doesn't get much better than that. Another one of my favorites, Jesus Crust, featuring the one and only Charlie Infection from Fudgeworthy. Great band. Canadian Badasses Beyond Possession, Telltale Heart, Rules. Here's an old Houston band called Dresden 45, one of my favorite bands ever. This is their second 7-inch. Yeah, second 7-inch. And then they did 2 7-inches, and then they did an album, and then they did another 7-inch, like a reunion thing, many years later. This one's from like '88, I think. And then Gut still has the Pussyfied Acidified white vinyl, still has the condom in there. Yeah. Houston classic band. First 7-inch from '93. Drown Productions. Imprecation. Other one of my favorites from the early '90s, Destroy. Minnesota. Real fast, hardcore, crusty band. Great 7-inch. The Sexorcist from Holland. Split with Extreme Smoke. Total grind noise, blur stuff. Speaking of grind noise, one of my all-time favorite 7-inches is Vaginal Massacre Split with Regurgitate. It's from '92, I believe, if I remember. Then this, Beherit, Death Yell Split. I mean, come on. Come on. Very first Ag Split with Reek Boost. Mandatory for any grinder. Speaking of grinders, this is a classic Flexi S.O.D Napalm Death. Classic, classic, classic. Putrefact, the Visceral Devourment on the legendary Afterworld. Fantastic. Dr. No, perfect hardcore 7-inch right here, or Nardcore. Heresy, the very first earache release, the Heresy Never Healed Flexi. Very first earache release. Pennsylvania Badasses Satan Bake Sale. Satan's Bake Sale, not Satan Bake Sale, Satan's Bake Sale. Features Pat from Exit 13, Red Stream Records and all that. I think this was from '87. Can't remember. Patarini, Ada, Split. Ada is Eric Keller from Fear of God's little noise project. And Patarini just Croatian madmen. Fucking rules. And then last, this is pretty rare. It's my band Cemetery, and this is just a test press that the label did. And they made the alternate covers for it. I think there was only 4 made. So, that's pretty cool. It's just, and that's what the back looks like. So there wasn't, only a couple of Dawn Breed Records decided to do that. I said, sure, why not? So, there you go.
All right. So, there's Francisco's 7-inch collection.
Insane.
Alexis, I saw you covering your eyes while I was showing that. You must have saw something on there. You're like, holy fuck.
There was that Imprecation 7-inch. That Dr. No. It is a pretty perfect hardcore
Yeah, I saw
album.
you had a major reaction on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
a nice video. I like that one.
Yeah, some of those ones I have, and some of them I've sold, so there was a bittersweet moment or two in there for me. Because I was like, fuck, I sold that fucking Beherit.
Yeah, that Beherit.
Yeah, I used to have that motherfucking Beherit. I have a letter from Beherit I should show you guys. It's pretty bugged out. That guy sent the fucking picture with a fucking... I don't even have the picture anymore, but... It was like a dick with a flower pot hanging off of it or whatever. I was like, what the fuck?
What?
Yeah, because he was sending me tapes and we were corresponding back and forth and stuff. So I was like, all right, how you said you get something extra in the mail, There was some flyers and there was a dick with a flower pot fucking hanging off of it. I was like, all right, Garrett. I'm just keeping it real because it happened and I still have it, obviously, because I'm a fucking hoarder. Yeah, Cemetery, and I was thinking the same thing when he went through that box. I was like, damn, I want that. I want that 7-inch. But I'm sure that's the only one
that stood out for me was Satan's Bake Sale, dude. Those guys rule. I love that.
Oh, yeah. I got that. I have that one. I think I have it on picture disc, though.
A very well-rounded collection.
7-inch of it, too.
I got a lot of those, too. I got the Heresy, and the Napalm and the S.O.D.
Right. Yeah, I have some of those ones he was showing as well. I don't have the imprecation one either. I
That
wouldn't mind
fucking
having that
Heresy
one.
rips, man. I love that 7-inch.
Yeah, and they're cool guys too. So yeah, I mean, I have this, the older, like, and he didn't show his demos obviously, but
Oh yeah,
an
the
old
Gothicles?
Agathocles original demo from
Yeah.
the band. They sent the, they sent the bio and they taped extra stuff on it, because that was
That's
part
what's
of the thing, right? Like when you wrote to bands, they didn't always just send you just their band, right?
Yeah.
They would hit you up with some other shit. They'd be like, "Hey, I'm an acoustic grinder. Here's our demo." You know, there'd just be a lot of other next level shit. You know, I mean, there's so many. Like, say when I wrote with Unleashed, they sent me this demo, which really isn't one of their demos, and I don't see anybody talking about this one. It's a promo demo of The Utter Dark.
Oh,
I think
sick.
they used 2 songs for their 7-inch versions. But
Yeah.
the rest of the other song recordings, they're not on the album. They're like different versions of them, you know?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, the band, like,
That's
yeah,
really
they
awesome.
pretty much hooked me up with, like, just a rare-ass promo tape. So it's kind of cool to get, like, those little gems. And then, like, I don't see those songs. Not that I'm looking for them, but I don't see them on YouTube, or if I want to listen to the tape, I'll just take the tape out and put it in usually, you know?
I don't know, man. I can't, like, half the time I'm like, I'm not gonna play this. It might, my tape player might.
Yeah, I'm
eat
like,
it
I'm in a
randomly.
sketch zone with that too. With, like, how to treat, like, my tapes.
Yep.
I'm
Like
just
when I
should play
rewind
it? Should
something,
I
I'm
not?
like, shit, is this gonna fucking snap at the end of this? Because it's
Yeah,
so.
I usually
old.
just play it and don't give a fuck. I'm
I know,
very
but it's like
caught-
sometimes
you know.
it's like, oh man, like these, like, can I really fuck with these Nihilist demos that I own, and
Right.
I'm gonna fuck these up? Like, I can just listen to the fucking vinyl repress, right?
Yeah, I got this OG fucking Dismember tape, and it's. So I mean, you can't fuck with this, Like you feel like
Yeah.
you're gonna fuck it up, Like when you like, but at the same time, like if I don't listen to it or use it, maybe it'll fuck it up that way.
Yeah.
I don't
It's-
know about
That's
records.
actually like a real thing. Like, every once in a while I'll take all my like most valuable shirts and I'll wash them because then they'll just get dry rot.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like I need to spin my tapes too,
Yeah.
So it's like I have to spin this thing. Like if it dies, it dies. Like it's just destiny.
Yeah.
But it's like I'll still have the tape, I guess.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
you reach a
can
weird point, always
repair it, I
fear with
guess, at
cassettes.
some point.
What's up,
Yeah.
Tony? I know you got a maniac collection. The Collectors Unite
Yeah,
on
this
Death
is nice.
Metal Podcast. I'm happy to have Alexis and Analog Archive on here tonight because we're having different guests. And, like, the conversation's good. Like, we don't need to play a bunch of fucking shitty music just to talk
Right.
about good, good
Yeah, we listen to
demos.
shitty music already, so
And I mean, all this stuff is about fucking shitty music anyway, So,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if you can end up with one of these and get it from, like, the guy in the band, I mean, why not have it, I don't even drink, so, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
I do love a koozie piece of merch.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so,
Yeah.
like, I just had to have it. It's just like, I don't know it because it was Rochefort. They were selling Frisbees, and I have it, too. I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to be using this Rochefort Frisbee, but...
Guy's over here in the park with his fucking Rochefort fucking frisbee.
Look at this guy in the park with his Rochefort fucking...
Amazing.
Got his Frisbee out.
It's a
I
very
mean-
niche group of people that would be doing that.
Yeah. I mean, as far as, like, you were saying before when I took out one of my flyers or something, you said, that's in good condition. Like, I haven't really given a fuck about the condition of my stuff at all, basically. I think it's just that it's stacked one on top of another.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I haven't really, like, curated a lot of my flyers and merch and sheets and all that stuff and, like,
As long as they're not like laying with a bunch of other things that aren't like them,
Yeah.
usually it's in pretty good it's able to stay in pretty good condition,
Right. And as far as like in your work setting, are you doing this too? Is that why you're so?
Yeah, like so, you know, like a lot of what I here, like over here, there's the I have an original
I see that
woodcut,
pungent poster I had.
and so like this is what I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like an original woodcut. And so
sick.
yeah, so like this is what I, you know, sell, and you know, it is music based. But yeah, this I feel more comfortable selling, you know.
Yeah. Pretty sick.
Oh, that's gonna kill me.
Yeah, no way I say fuck. Exactly.
All of my stuff is uneven, and I can see it in the camera. It's killing me.
Oh yeah, little things will bother me too,
Yeah.
but I try not to look at anything.
Yeah.
I can't even watch his videos when I'm done. I'm like, fuck myself, die.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a day. Sometimes I have to bookmark them, so I have to fucking watch it lately. But I don't know, 99 episodes later, I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? Like, what, I talked online?
Does it get easier?
No.
Ah, that's terrible news, man.
Yeah, I mean, I realized though afterwards, like if other people are getting some kind of like something out of this, then I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, you know.
Yeah,
Right
and that's
before
why
I
I
did this.
appreciate both of yous being on it, because
Yeah, of
also
course.
Dennis, I mean, there's a lot of things I'm seeing with your channel where you're pulling out like things about like second albums. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And second albums are fucking important in a weird way. And it's cool to see the discussion out there about people, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times a band's second album is their fucking good one.
Right. But the thing too is a lot of people like the reason I do my channel is I was doing Instagram and just showing like photos, which I still do, but I like to talk about what I'm showing. Like if I'm showing a 7-inch like I can't just be like, oh, this is a good, like if you're writing something like this is killer 7-inch, but that doesn't really tell anybody anything. So if you're showing something physically, even if it's on like YouTube, you're showing your collection, it gets it out there. So you feel like, you know, you can't, especially when the pandemic hit, like you couldn't hang out with people and you couldn't like go to shows. So that's when I started doing YouTube, and like this whole community is on there, this vinyl community that is like very accepting, and they're like, hey dude, what's up? And like, and you start getting on shows like this and like talking about your collection and getting on different shows and stuff like that. It's just cool to like be part of a community again. Whereas like, and it's across the world, right? I know guys in Germany, Australia, like, and I'm talking to those guys. It feels like the old days, right? Except you're not writing letters, you're actually seeing them and talking to them. So it's just really cool to like get that kind of aspect into
I love it.
Yeah.
you're collecting.
I'm
world.
almost addicted to it, and then it's like, fuck, like I don't have enough time for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like I have to like, you know what I mean, find a balance basically,
Right.
to be like, all right, this is the only amount of time I'm gonna fuck with it, you know?
And that's the thing too, because there's guys that'll put out something like every week or 2 days a week, and it's like, dude, like
Yeah.
I just put stuff out when I want to talk about something. That's
Right.
when I put stuff out. And if people
Same.
like it, they like it. If they don't like it. That's fine. Just don't watch it. It's all good.
Exactly.
So,
And I'm sure you get like messages from people being like, why are you like, you know, posting this, or why are you talking about this? It's like, because I like it.
yeah, I
You
get
know?
people like, that's stupid. Why do you collect cassettes? That they suck. And I'm like,
Yeah.
then why are you talking to me? Like, who cares, dude? Why do you
Like,
care
okay, man,
what
like-
I want to do? Like, that
You've
makes
convinced me. Like,
Yeah, okay, I'm not
now
going
I
to do
won't
cassettes
sell
anymore.
any more
Yeah.
cassettes. See you later.
It's just weird how people just like, they'll just like have their own opinion and like try to push it upon you.
I
Like,
feel
that's
like the whole opinions I see the most is the one about like physical only, you know, and like no Spotify, no this, no that.
Yeah.
Like fuck that. I'm a music fan, so like
Right.
it's like,
I'm
so
listening
you don't
to
listen to music when
everything.
you leave the house,
yeah.
you know?
Not like
So,
I'm, being fucking, I'm not going out there with my Walkman, like listening to the fucking Rotrevor demo. Like, yeah, man, I only listen to it on cassette because I'm real like that. Fuck these posers.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I like physical stuff, and I mean, if it
Yeah.
pumps it
Well,
up for the band,
obviously we all love physical stuff here.
yeah.
So
And if it pumps it for the band, I think it's cool, you know.
yeah.
But then it
Well, I
reaches a
mean,
point where, like, you know, so many bands, you can't even buy all the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, fuck.
but I
And
mean,
I
that's
don't like have the space. Even if I could buy it, I don't have
Right.
the space or the desire to maintain it.
I agree.
that's the thing too. Like if I go to a show and I see like a new death metal band, I'll buy their shirt and the demo because I want to support the band,
Yeah.
just like we did back in the day. So, I mean, I still go to shows to support bands,
Right. That's what I do, too.
even if I'm not buying. Like if some guy's like, "Oh, you got to check this out," like maybe I'll listen to it. I won't buy it. And I mean, it's really rare that I'll buy new death metal stuff just because I kind of have heard it all before. For me, like there has to be a feeling, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, death metal, like nowadays, it's kind of like through the motions of music. It doesn't have that feeling like it had back in the day. And some bands do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's no bands that have that feeling. But I mean, there's newer bands that I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You sound like both are cool. But I don't need to purchase that. Like I don't even really need to listen to it. I'll just listen to Bolt Thrower or Morbid
Yeah, well,
Angel.
that's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Yeah, and I look at that through the lens of Kerrang and other mags that they push these bands down our throat that, like,
Mhm.
that we didn't really even give a fuck about them. Like, no one
Yeah.
fucks with Metal Duck. You know? No one... You know what I mean? But yet they had an advertisement in every
Dude,
goddamn Kerrang and
you
Metal
hit the nail on
Forces.
the head there because they would like
Wow.
fucking Metal Forces and Kerrang would push the UK bands down your fucking throat. They're like, you gotta listen to fucking Grinder, dude.
I mean,
because
they
that
even
band-
pushed Sabat super hard,
Yep.
which I can
But
understand
Sabat was
people
killer.
like them.
Sabat
Yeah,
was badass. But
yeah, they have some merit. Personally, I don't like them, but
I was
mean,
looking at a Kerrang like a Sabat ad earlier.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
like
pretty
them,
sure it's yeah.
but I understand why somebody would like them. But then when I listen to Lawnmower Death or like,
yeah, that's horrible.
I don't even know, like Acid Rain actually is the band that always comes to mind.
Yeah,
I got
Acid-
that. I thought, oh man, that Acid Rain must be sicker than Slayer, you know? And then once I got the record, I was like, oh my god, I want to fucking bring this shit back, dude. Like
I really
was
like
this
that.
is-
I really like the EP, dude. I really like Moshkinstein. I don't like anything else, but I like Moshkinstein because it has that song about Psycho on it that I really like called Motherly Love. But
Right.
that's again just me and my like horror
Hey, man,
stuff.
I mean, we like what we like.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as a guilty pleasure.
Exactly.
You know, listen to what you want.
Exactly. I think it's interesting how the magazine swayed our brain though, like that just
Yep.
just to see all the ads and all the merch, and you're like, God damn, man, that band's really popping.
that's why it was cool with zines because they would basically tell you if they sucked or not. They didn't care. They weren't
Right.
getting paid. They'd be like, hey, man, like even if somebody sent them a demo, they'd be like, yeah, I'm not really my thing, but you might like them. Like these
Right.
guys sound like, you know, whatever, Anthrax or whatever, and I don't like that band. But if you're into Anthrax, you might like this band. So, but it wouldn't be like Metal Forces where they'd be like, you gotta listen to like this band,
It felt
like
paid
Megadeth,
off.
Peace or not Peace Cells, but like So Far So Good is a 99 or whatever,
Right.
and you're like, oh really? And then you get it, and you're like, wait, what? This isn't that good.
You know what? Moving into YouTube for myself, I felt YouTube was very paid off, you know? So I was like, oh, this shit's paid off as fuck. But I'm like,
You
know
also
what?
can't
I mean,
say
even if it
everything you
is-
want.
Yeah, even if it is, then, you know, if there's, you know, whatever many people are watching here, that's how many people are not paid off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, besides the bots that are here.
Yeah.
You know, like that's so if you guys are like say like Phil No Balone in here or Stefan Goldberg, Faucet Freak, you know, Necron, Noea, I see Cardiac Arrest in here, Teddy Tommy, Ian Ackerman, like these people, like, you know, Kyle P, like they're on here all the time, you know.
Yeah. That's
And
the cool
they-
thing, man, because they'll come on here and just like they'll support you. And I've seen a lot of these same names on different streams I'm on too. And it's kind of like, hey, what's up, Dennis? Or hey, what's up? You know, even
For
if they
sure.
don't stay. Like I'll try to get on these streams even when you do them or Necron or someone and be like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah,
Just to like support you. Like even if I can't stay, like I just want to be like, "Hey,
exactly. So
what's
do
up?"
I. I'll just come in, say something, and
Yeah,
bounce.
and I've seen you too, like get on some of the streams I'm on and be like, "What's up, guys?"
Yeah, I thought it was cool when me, you, and Ken went on that one
Yeah,
time. That was super impromptu for me.
yeah.
You guys were like, "Get Roy on here." I'm like, "All right."
I think we were fucked up. That's what,
Yeah, you were fucking lit.
especially Ken.
Yeah, yeah, Erin, thank you for supporting. Appreciate it. Gore Grind channel, I would love to. I haven't been listening to as much as I used to though. Been sticking to like the straight death metal and you know what I mean. Obviously old stuff mostly.
Yeah,
I'm very nostalgic. You know, I just keep going back to the old stuff.
that's what I'm saying. That was like the best stuff. Like, I mean, and it could be just our age. Like we're just old dudes that like old shit, and I get that. But when you
I
listen
don't
to new
feel that
stuff,
way 100% about
well, I
myself,
just think
but
when you listen to new stuff, you're always comparing it to something you've already heard. It's not like, wow, this band is like the new Nocturnus or something.
right.
Like you're like, they sound kind of like Nocturnus.
Mm.
It's never like, oh, this band is like breaking. It's always you're comparing it to something else, which I do a lot. And
Yeah.
I just think that's how it is. Like you're never going to
Yeah,
get
it's
something
oversaturated.
super new.
It's oversaturated. That's what's
Hmm.
happening, you know.
Just like it
Ken
did in the
that
90s.
night, Ken was great that night, telling everyone to fuck off. And he was saying Metal Church was the best. That's something I'll never forget.
Metal Church.
I'm like, Metal Church was jamming Merciless Abstract Offering.
That's sick.
Interesting. There's a Burnt Offering. Remember them? That
Shirt
demo?
back there. If you can see it by my creator.
Oh, shit.
That's an OG Burn Offering shirt.
Righto.
Sorry,
Damn,
it's back
dude.
there by the creator shirt back
Hold
there.
on, let's bring it on the big boy.
On the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
they were
I
one of
never
my
knew how to
customers.
display my shirts. But maybe you're teaching me something here.
Yeah, you should, dude. I want to do them like I have so many shirts. I want to do them all the way around my basement. I have so much. Like this is, I think I have like my basement's like almost like 2,500 square feet on both sides. So I want to do well. This one side, on the other side, I'll just do like probably put a pool table and like all my horror movie posters and shit in there. And
Hmm.
then on this side is all music. So I'll
Yeah,
try
it
to do
sounds like you got a
shirts.
nice chunk of space to accommodate your
Yeah, that's
collection.
awesome.
That's
Yeah,
all,
that's good.
one of the whole reasons I bought this house. I was like, this basement fucking rules. This is mine.
Yeah, I bought my house also because of the space. I was like, this has extra space, so like it'll give
Yep.
me more space to put all my fucking shit. Because I had
Yeah, 'cause I have a
outgrown.
lot. I have
I
so much
outgrew
shit.
4
Dude.
apartments in 5 years. So
And I
that
was
is a lot of stuff, and that's a lot of stuff to move around. Like,
so tired of having my stuff in boxes. Like every time I went somewhere, and it's like all my shit's in a box. It's like I can't display anything. And
And it's hard to go through it when it's like that because it's you have to commit to putting it back,
yep.
yes,
and otherwise, that's how you end up ruining things. So
yeah,
I mean,
this is
especially
true.
with like vinyl, man. You just have like you have them in boxes so long. You're like, is that warped? Like, is this even good anymore? Like, you don't even know because they've been stuck in boxes for 2 years or whatever it is in storage.
yeah,
Yeah. I've been trying to rotate my stuff. I have been trying so hard. There's so much stuff though. I was showing Death Compendium, that John Grave guy. I was like, or no, it might have been my other friend Ian. I was like, here's some of my tapes. I was like, this is just this area of my house that has the tapes. And I was like,
Yeah.
here's another fucking 4 racks of them. He's like, oh damn, I want those racks. And I'm like, yo, I have 14 more of those upstairs too that are mounted, But
Yeah.
it's like I have to mount like all this shit. I'm like, how much stuff, like how much stuff do I really have, man? Just so much.
That's when it gets a
you
little
realize
bit
how much
like,
you have when you try to
Yeah.
put it up on the walls.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then you're like,
You know?
God, man, I just have so much crap. And
Well, people were awestruck. This was something for me like with my friends. They were awestruck when they would come to my house and see my fucking demo collection.
Yep.
Like everybody was like, "Holy fuck," you know. And now it's probably like triple that. So it's like, god damn, man.
Yeah.
It like freaks me out because I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to handle it.
With renters insurance or, homeowners insurance.
Oh yeah, some of that
That's
stuff
how you
too.
handle
Yeah,
it.
like don't put the demos under like anywhere where like water happens. You know?
Yep. I'm thinking that too down here. I'm like, shit, if this pipe breaks,
Mm.
like,
Yeah, I've been like that for years. I'm like, I can't put this stuff in this place because water is there above it.
Yep.
Fuck that. And same with the basement. It's just like, I don't know about that.
yep.
I lost some shit to those basements. Not flooding, but just like mold,
Yep.
which is an enemy too, even to tapes.
Yep.
I noticed in my VHS and my horror tapes, they had like mold on them. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I have a bunch of like plug-in dehumidifiers
Mm.
that like all over, and I have right here. It like tells you the humidity in the room,
Oh shit.
Nice.
so I
I'm gonna
can
have to
make
get
sure
that.
that it's not,
Right.
I have
Yeah,
to,
it
I have
helps.
to treat my stuff better.
I know. Sometimes I'll do a video and people are like, "Are you seriously touching that with your fingers?" And I'm like, "Huh?" It's like, you need to wear gloves when you touch that. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking record. I'm not gonna wear gloves. It is what it is.
Right.
Like, if my
And also
fingers
sometimes it's
control-
more dangerous if you can't feel what you're holding because you're more likely to tear it or drop it or, so it's actually not always better to wear gloves.
Interesting. I never
But-
thought about using my stuff with kid gloves.
right? I was like, if I have to go that route,
pretty
it's not
violent.
worth having anymore. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't horrific, but like I'll get a record and then I'm like, where does this go? Back in the sleeve? Like, where's the fucking record cover?
Yeah.
That'll just mean I played it a lot that week, you know? It's like, all right, I think I'm listening to this Judas Priest again.
Until I find the sleeve.
Yeah, until like the cover pops out somewhere. It's got to be somewhere within the like arm range here.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I'm like, where's this fucking record cover? It's like, where did I put this? And the vinyl's
Yeah,
like right
Hales
here.
Necron CD hoarder. Sorry, guys. That DRI poster. People are eyeballing your backgrounds.
Oh yeah, I
Do
got
it to me
that.
too.
That DRI is from like a show. It's actually not a poster. It's like a felt thing that they were giving away. I think if I bought a shirt, it's like
Wow.
felt. I don't know, man. I don't remember when I got that. Probably on like
You said something earlier that was important to me, and I think it's important to other people that watch this too. You said you go to a show, but you buy the shirt and the tape.
Yep.
I think that's fucking super cool, man, because like, say you halfway even like the band, you know? You're
Yep.
just like, you know what, man? I'm gonna support this shit because this band rolled out from who the fuck
Mm-hmm.
knows, man? California, Florida, Chicago. They're in Cali. They're in Reno. They're
Yep.
in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? They're in fucking Jersey. They're in upstate New York. They're wherever. And then you just go there, you know, maybe, just buy the fucking tape and shirt.
Yeah,
I've
buy
done the same
something.
thing.
And the merch is how they're making their actual money. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, I've done the
like
exact
that's
same
how you
thing.
support the band. Like they're not making shit from the venue,
Yeah.
so just buy it, buy a shirt, buy it. Even if you can only afford a tape or a sticker,
Yeah.
buy something.
Yeah, especially when they're a younger band.
Yep.
Because then it's like, because I've been on the road with younger bands. So like, I know we were fucking broke,
Just buy something. Like even if you're like the last show I went to, like I said, Morbid Angel, like I'll buy something from the band Skeletal Remains because
Right.
they're there and they got some cool shirts. Like, hey man, and we're like out there in the parking lot drinking beers with them and shit. So hey,
Right
what's
on.
up, man? Like we were out there hanging out with you guys. I'll grab a shirt. I'm not a big fan of Skeletal Remains, but I'm gonna support the band. You know what I mean?
I'm very
even if I-
similar to you in this little conversation you're having. Like, I'll hang out with the band, drink with them, like smoke with them or something.
Yep.
Then I'll buy their merch. You know what I mean? But like,
and you'd be like,
I
that band's
don't
all right.
I don't listen to them, no.
Yeah.
and I don't listen to them now. Like
But
sometimes
you're
I'll go
not
home and listen to them now.
you're not really just supporting the band. You're supporting the scene that we all
Yeah.
came from, right? And
There's
we
been
remember.
times. Yeah, there's been
Yeah.
times when I stopped and I went home and listened to them, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, it is
Like,
what it is.
I was on
but-
something when I was like, you know, like I was in a great mood, you know, when I bought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to you know, also the live music experience for me is a bigger thing than like the CDs and records and all this shit.
Yep.
I like to find out about bands first live.
Yeah.
I actually don't like to hear them on CDs and this and that. I like to go to a show, hear a band I never fucking heard, and see them live for the first time. That's always the real icebreaker for me. And usually I end up liking the band. But then after that, then it's like there's the crossroad of like, am I gonna start buying their stuff? Well, I'll probably buy it at the show, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But like, am I gonna keep buying it, you know?
Yeah, and I have tons of demos and stuff from like newer bands that I don't really listen to, but you know, I saw them play or I support the band. Like if they come around again, I'll go. And then that's how you end up talking to people too. Like definitely with newer bands, you're like, hey man, what's up? Or like they're like, oh dude, like you're wearing like this shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they know those bands. That's how they're influenced as well. So it's kind of cool to talk to them and kind of do what we're doing now. Just talk about how the scene was or talk about what you collect and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
So-
also like I always think like everybody's in their first band, you know, you buy a record from somebody and it gives them, you know, the like impetus to start a different band or another band or, you know, to like, you know, collaborate with somebody else or, you know, release something on their own. And, you know, even if I don't like that release, you know,
Yeah.
it's all about people making more music. So
Right. Yeah, that's killer. I like the I like the thing about like the metal scene. Maybe it's just death metal and black metal, but that everyone like fucking hangs out with each other and they're not like there's not too much strife.
No.
It seems like there's more strife between the bands than there is the fans. So it's like when you go to a show, like you can hang with like everybody there, you know?
Yep.
It's like not everybody, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And like you said, I end up hanging outside, like talking to a bunch of the older guys, like, oh, dude, I used to have like every nun slaughter, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, man. Like, it's just people telling stories, and you get to hear like these kind of cool stories.
Yeah, there's
about
been
them.
more people approaching me about this thing, or there was at Maryland Death Fest, and they're like, "Death Metal Podcast."
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I mean, if you know, but then if they talk to me about some deep shit, they're like, hey, so that unreleased Abominator, you know? Then I'm like, all right, now we can fucking talk, you know? Like I wanna know and talk about like the deeper
Yeah.
stuff with people, because
Yeah.
I appreciate that more, because it feels like they're more like well thought out about their,
Yeah.
you know?
like they're
Yeah.
actually looking at what I have and like not just like shooting in the dark about like what they like, you know. They're actually
Exactly.
like considering what they think like I might not have listened to.
Exactly.
That's the best when someone's like, "Have you listened to this?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Elaborate, you know.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to you know, and then like at the same time, like I've been to hardcore shows and they seem a little more closed off, you know what I mean?
It's because they are.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely
Vibes.
a cult of personality as opposed to like a or just a general cult,
Right.
you know.
Yeah,
So.
it's different. I mean, I haven't been to many hardcore shows in a while. The last ones I was going to was like Billy Club Sandwich or some shit. So it's been quite a minute for me. But yeah, I mean, as far as like growing up amongst that, you know, I would see like Irate and I would see all these other bands because my friends would hang out with like all these bands. They're like, hey, you want to go see Irate? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll go to, you know, like I just wanted something to do. And then
Right.
I also stayed away from the bar at most of my clubs and shows. I don't know about you two, but like I wasn't a huge drinker at the shows.
No.
I would go there for the show and for the hang and not for like just alcohol.
Yeah,
Or
I
if,
mean,
if I went for alcohol, I bought it outside the show. I didn't buy it.
yeah,
I was gonna
I think
say, like in New York, it's not like really like a, you know, financially viable thing to do. And, you know,
Right.
again, like you said, I'd rather spend my money, you know, buying a tape or buying a shirt
Yeah.
or going to another show that week,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? So, yeah.
yeah, I think now, I mean, when I was younger, I never really bought alcohol. I mean, older, like when I go to shows with friends, like we'd probably get a couple tall cans and drink them in the car and then go to the show. Maybe drink like one beer there or something like that. But
That's
it wasn't
exactly
like,
how I used to play it.
yep. Or,
Also, I want
you
to
know,
remember the things I see,
right.
you know?
You don't want to be like, what? How was that band? I
Yeah.
mean, I've gone to shows
Wait, I
with
saw that band, you know?
Oh yeah,
gone to
Not a
shows
good
with
look.
people.
I've had
Gone
a
to
couple
shows
horror
with guys
shows.
and they just pass out and they're like, dude, when is like, you know,
Smoke a
fucking
fatty and walk in the show. Yeah,
when's Witch Trap playing? And I'm
That
like,
too.
dude, Witch Trap played already, man. You missed that shit. You were passed out on the bench.
Oh man. Yeah. I stayed pretty diligent at that Metal Threat Fest. 'Cause they
Oh,
just went room to room and they just kept band. And I just stayed on it
oh, good.
as much as I could, you know? Unless I had to eat or whatever.
Yeah.
And the people I was with, like, they were more drinkers, so I don't drink. So, like, you know, they were, you know, like, let's go get more drinks, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like, I have to fucking watch Sadistic Intent. I've never seen them before, you know?
Yeah.
And that, for me, because they seem like they never played in my time period of when I would go to shows. Because I stopped going to shows because of that hanging outside thing. Because I realized, I was like, the only time I fucking hang out with these motherfuckers is outside the show. I was thinking, damn, I need to like connect with people like on a non-show level, but it seems almost impossible.
Yeah.
I think you have to be more deliberate about it. You have to be like, do you want to do this now, you know, this
Yeah.
time? You know, I don't really run into the people that I want to converse with at length, you know, as much anymore. So,
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I've been trying to change it, and then like going to New York shows is cool, but for me, it's like I've been to so many over the years. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go there. So I've been going to Rhode Island shows, and like the scene is pretty pumping there, and it's the same distance. It's a little further, maybe even from where I live. So I'm just like, it's like a change of faces, and it's interesting.
and it's a
to
different
me.
environment, totally.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Or Philly. I went to
Yeah.
Philly also, and it was about the same distance.
yeah.
So I was like, hey, this is a different scene for me. I'll still go to shows in New York. There's no doubt about it. That I know that already. It's like everything comes there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you're forced to, it's like, I have to go there, you know? But, I mean, am I going to go to every show? Not as many, you know? I've only, what do you call it, did one show that I really regretted was Dr. Shrinker.
Yeah.
You drank 5 beers and smoked some weed aside incantation. Good for you. So yeah, incantation and suffocation. So I mean, over time too. I mean, as far as both of you with collecting stuff, and do you have like a base of people that you feel are your go-to?
Yeah. For sure.
Alexis, you do?
Yeah. Yeah, like you know, definitely like a handful of people who it's more consistent with. I mean, I would say it, but I don't want people to be like, "Hey,
I
what do
get
you
that.
got?" But yeah, I honestly I like it that way more. I also think maybe it's a little different. I don't necessarily like. Some strangers aren't always awesome, you know. So it's definitely nice to build those relationships and then keep them going.
Right.
You know, consistently. You know, being like, "Hey, look what I got." You know, you would totally love this. You know. Oh, I found something I totally forgot I had. You know, you got to see this. You know, it definitely
they know
is.
that it's one of your core bands.
Yeah. You
And I'm
know,
sure
and like there are
Dennis-
definitely people who I like talk with about like the stuff with constantly.
Yeah. And I'm sure with you, Dennis, you have a lot of people that come to you because they watch your channel and they know like these are Dennis's core bands.
Yeah, it's not so much the bands; it's more what I collect. Like I said,
Okay.
like if I'm collecting like Polish bootlegs, I'll have like 3 or 4 guys that sell those, and they'll like today, like somebody texts me, "Hey, I have all these like covers." So I don't. You guys probably don't know, but back in Poland in the 80s and even into the 90s, the zines would send out basically a cassette cover, which was just like, say it was like Sodom Agent Orange. That would come with the zine, and it was like kind of a black and white cover, but it was a cassette cover. It would come with the zine, but you had to record the record from somewhere else, but it would come with that cassette cover. And this guy just had like 50 of those covers, and he's like, "Hey, dude,
that's
you
awesome.
interested in these?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm interested in those," because they're so fucking rare to get. You know what I mean? But it's like shit like that where somebody comes to you with like these things, or they know like I'm a big Necrophagia fan, like hey, I have Season of the Dead on this Tact label, which is a Polish label that was like, you can't, it's so, and the cover will look different. It'll have like the same original like cover, but the writing and like logo will be different. And I'm a sucker for that shit.
Oh,
And
you sound exactly like me with the Italian horror shit with the books.
Yeah. And like even that, like Japanese VHS covers that'll have a different cover. Like I gotta have that just because it looks so fucking badass. Or like
Dude,
it just looks different than I want to have
me
that.
with the fucking shit, like with my horror movie stuff from years ago,
Yeah.
where I was like completely like, I was buying so many like different books and all this shit, and like they weren't written in English basically.
Yep.
And I would try to look through them to be like, is there at least one English section in here? I'm like, nope.
And it's all about like just that visual, like even like a Japanese looking Friday the 13th cover that has like an axe with blood on it, like totally different than the US version. It's like, oh man, I gotta have that version because of the art is so fucking killer.
I collected and I have these some. I have like say 75% of them in frames, which are like those Thai posters.
Yeah.
The horror Thai posters, the Italian ones, because they would put like the most gruesome fucking scene from the thing on the poster.
Yep.
So I got some really good ones, like like the Beyond and the Gates of Hell and Zombie Holocaust and these type of ones. New York Ripper.
I got a bunch of those too. I think I have a giant.
I bought them cheap, and I think they sell for a lot of money now.
I know. I have a fold out New York Ripper. It's like I don't know, dude, like 6 by like 10 giant subway poster of New York Ripper with like the lady laying in the street with like the knife on the top. And I think I bought it for like $30 back in the day.
Yeah.
But
just a lot of timing. What about we didn't breach this, but what about like eBay and these places? Still fucking
I mean, I'll still check eBay. Like I said, you can find stuff on eBay that people just don't care about. If you just happen upon it, it's like, oh shit. Like even that Burn Offering shirt back there that I got that for like maybe $10 because who the fuck's Burn Offering? Like nobody cared about it.
Yeah. I stepped away from eBay a little bit. I was just curious about you two.
I mean, I'll hit it up if I'm looking for something specific, but I'll hit up eBay, Discogs, and then Instagram because a lot of people have stuff on Instagram that are trying to sell stuff. So, I mean,
it seems like to me, the stuff that Alexis tries to collect is a little rarer in a weird way, though.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
flyers are going to be. The thing with that is, it's like I can't tell. Like if somebody photocopies a flyer, is that an original? I can't tell. It's hard for me to tell what a flyer is original or not. Whereas, like a demo or something, you can kind of tell because it has to be cut out right and whatnot. But and there's a different
has to be the right one.
Right, and you have to look at like certain demos because you can tell that pixelated if it's printed out on computer paper or if it's OG like photocopied. There's a complete.
There was something I showed on the Swedish version of this, which was this thing. This was like for the Swedish death metal collectors.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So like this book, it's in 2 volumes, and this is the Swedish death metal encyclopedia. So when they wrote it though, they used like the photos of like the actual tapes, the real tape that it would come with.
Yeah.
So like say for instance, it would show, like, let me find a band where it shows like a bunch of tapes.
Yeah.
Just say with that Hyman demo right there, they're like, this is the tape it came out on. And then say with some others, Headshots,
Yeah.
Nirvana 2002, Mastication,
Yeah.
Lubricant. No,
Yeah.
that's
I also think
Leukemia,
it's
my
like,
bad.
I think it's also like, as how often, if you see something 20, 30 times, you kind of just know when you're looking at the original. And I
Yep.
guess sometimes that's, what it is. And sometimes I'll be like, I'll ask somebody who I think might know better,
Yeah.
Research.
And I get that too.
You gotta ask.
Like
Yeah.
I just got something from somebody. I think it was a Mayhem demo, and somebody sent me a picture, and he's like, "Is this actually the demo tape?" And I'm like, "No, that's not it, dude. That's not the original cassette."
Right.
Like, I don't know about the cover, but that tape is not the original tape for.
Because it didn't have Euronymous' handwriting on it.
I see that a lot. Original covers.
Yep.
And really like one shitty photo of like the inside of it, and you're just like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
But, somebody is gonna buy that.
there's people that
Somebody
make
is gonna
money.
trigger finger it and just buy it.
Yep.
Yeah. It sucks, I guess.
It does.
I mean, if they feel like they have the real one, I guess it's good for them. But I guess in a very long game, it's not.
As long as you're not selling it for a real price,
Yeah.
it is what it means to you. So
And
You know what I
that's the
had
thing
done?
too. If
Yeah,
somebody
you know what
on
I had
eBay
done,
is like,
Go
I
ahead,
have
Dennis.
this cassette, but I don't know if it's an original, fine. Like, put that in there. But if it's like OG press, let me tell you a story about a Mayhem demo that I copied for somebody and did the cover, and then I wrote the logo. You know how he writes it with the upside down crosses and shit? Mayhem. I did that on it. And some dude was selling it on eBay for like $400, and someone bought it. I'm like, dude, that's my writing. That's not the original. That was just a weird tape trade thing.
Right.
And this guy was like in Chile or somewhere. And I'm like, dude, that's not.
honestly,
my
though,
writing.
the bootleg collecting is like an entirely separate, world that I'm not,
Try not.
people
to go down
are
that way.
even more intense than people who are looking for the OG stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I collect more bootlegs now than I collect regular shit. Or for like maybe like the span of like a couple years, I was buying more bootlegs than I was buying regular releases because I thought they were rarer.
Yeah.
And they are.
Sometimes the art's cooler, I like,
the arts
I
were
like,
better.
and you'll be like, oh, I can tell that that's from this country because, they're doing this with it. I love that.
Yeah, but the sound wasn't always there.
Yeah.
I have to say that.
Sometimes
the art
it's
was
good
better,
recording.
definitely.
Sometimes it's not. You just have to. It's hit or miss with the recordings. But
Yeah,
you're not
it's-
buying it. 9 times out of 10, you're not buying it for the sound. You're buying it.
For the,
To have that
sound
quality.
quality.
I did something on eBay that probably was unorthodox at the time. When I was selling my demos and all my stuff, I would sell the people. I would give them the letter that it came with too, so that way they 100% knew that this is the real fucking.
That's
thing.
awesome.
Yeah, because I was like, you know what, like say for instance, like Mythic. I was friends with them. I hung out with them. Like I don't think they would die if I sold the demo I bought off them fucking 30
Right.
years ago, or say it was like 25 years ago. So like, I sold their stuff, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna send the letter that Terry gave me and the bio, and I'm gonna send the person everything basically, because I think that'll mean more to them too. Then
Yeah.
they'll know, oh, this is real.
And to be honest, like
No one
You know-
does that though, right?
honestly, I've done it. I've sent and I've
That's
had
all.
people send that to me like that. And as a record of something, it makes it more valuable that everything is together. When you
Definitely.
have multiple items from something and you're selling it as a unit, it's the context, it gives it value, and multiple kinds of value.
Definitely.
So
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I'm not alone.
no.
I thought 'cause I see so many people out there scamming that I'm like, I have to play different,
Yeah.
Just I want the person to know this is real, That
And
was the
also
bottom line.
like it's also like what feels right to you. It's not necessarily like, sometimes you're like, this just kind of belongs together, and I feel like the impact is greater if it is together.
I felt so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
how
it
I
is.
felt.
And I think some people like they get that kind of joy. Like some people send me like original demos with like the flyer and handwritten stuff, and they're like, "Dude, you're gonna like this more than I do. I don't need this in my collection. Like, you probably like this more than me." And they're just trying to connect with people in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
hey, like you're cool. I like what you're showing. Take this from me because I don't care about it as much as you would. And I
Yeah.
think that's like if you're selling something with like the paperwork and everything, that to them is like, oh man, that guy's cool. Like he's selling the whole package. It's not just a tape.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It does belong together.
Yeah. And to you, like that when you got that was probably together. So it's like here, like take this, it's the whole package. Like why do you need to keep the letter? Like
Yeah.
that's not gonna really do anything. Like, oh, I sold the demo, but kept the
Yeah,
letter.
exact. That's why I sent the letter, because I was like,
Yeah.
it's a remembrance.
Yeah. That's also like why I like kind of putting notes in with stuff. Like I gave you all of these so that they stay together. So, I also like being like, I check eBay all the time, so please don't break these up and sell them on eBay. Like,
Oh,
please
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
Like,
people
I'll
selling
probably see it,
flyers.
so please don't. Like,
I saw people selling flyers that I like photocopied and sent them.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. So like, if you're that desperate, I guess whatever.
yeah.
You know, like I can't police the entire fucking community.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking sometimes. It's just, I guess it depends how flagrant it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like a long-term like buyer, seller, and a long-term collector, like you want the right person to have your stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you want the person that's going to keep it, not a person that's going to keep it for 2 years and sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've sold a
If
lot of
2 years.
Yeah, if 2 years.
Sometimes they just flip it. They're like, oh, she's giving me a deal. Let me flip this and sell it for retail.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that I've seen that happen.
I just won't trade or sell to those people, ever
Yeah,
again.
I
So.
mean, I have a very quick fucking trigger on the cutoff rate for like people. I'm just like, nope,
Yeah.
you're done.
Like,
Like,
if I ever get rid of anything, it's always a trade. Like, hey, can you trade me X, Y, and Z for this? If I'm willing to even get rid of something. But I mean, I used to sell shit on eBay all the time, but it wasn't really metal stuff. Some of it was, but I would sell a lot of hip hop, like underground rap stuff from the Bay Area, like G-Funk stuff, and I'd sell it for hundreds of dollars to like guys in Japan because those guys want to have
that was their
original
scene at that
copy.
time.
So like, and they're gonna enjoy it more than I am. Like I'm like, okay, well I'll burn the CD, I'll have it.
Right.
But I don't need this in my collection. Like, it's cool, but
that's cool. It's pretty deep. The it's interesting how the scene is international, right?
Yep.
We're gonna wrap this up soon too, but it's interesting how like the scene is like so international. It's not just a United States fucking thing, you know what I mean? Which like we're all from the United States, but like this scene is fucking international as fuck. You know? I mean, I've been friendly with people from Europe for like some of them for like 30 fucking years. And then sometimes you get to meet them, and that's been like a joy for me. Or then now even like just Facebook or whatever, it's like, all right, we can fucking talk, it's kind of fucking cool, like, oh, that's what your face looks like. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Especially when you post collections and you're like not posting that other stuff, like actual Instagram stuff. It's kind of nice, like going, people like, oh, I didn't realize that was you. I know.
Right.
I know. Intentional, It's about the flyers. So, it's nice getting to actually socialize with people who are, so I'm not like punishing my, non-collector friends with this stuff.
Oh yeah. I know I have those like issues. It's like there's people that I know they were into metal, but they don't listen to it anymore too. But we're still friends, and then it was like, I was like, yeah, they probably like this anyway.
Yeah. When I tell people I like at work, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel. They're like, really? Like, what do you do? And I'm like, I mainly talk about music. They're like, what? I'm like, death metal. The fuck's death metal? Like, nobody knows.
Well,
Like,
you should watch my channel.
yeah. And then they're like, dude, what the fuck? That's crazy shit. You own all that stuff? Like, I had no idea. It's just
Well, I let my shit ride on Facebook Live and all this shit, and then like you see your fucking aunt on there, you know, you're like, oh shit. But whatever. Like I don't like. I'm not here to, you know, change. So
yeah.
Yeah.
this is
I mean,
what
like,
you know I fuck with.
I'm not
and
here to
then-
change. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, if this is what I fuck with, or the people, or the music I fuck with, like I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's cool. Like you know, I think hand-me-downs, exactly. Music, clothes, everything.
Yeah.
You're right, man. I love my thrift store. I'd like to go in there.
I'm gonna call them hand-me-downs from now on. I'm not trading. I'm getting hand-me-downs.
hand-me-downs.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
there's.
that.
It's cool to have connected with you two and talked because
Yeah.
like I think not just us two, but also the people watching this and the people that are watching afterwards.
Yeah.
You'll probably identify a lot with this.
Yeah.
Because it's like this is a very rare species, but at the same time, there are a lot of people that are really hard on their collecting, you know?
Dozens of us.
Yeah, and which is cool because I feel like the more people that are into it, the more, I don't know, like that's the way I've always thought. Well, even back from day one when I hung around my friends and I was like, here, I taped you this Carcass tape, you know?
Yeah.
Like I know you listen to Def Leppard, but
But here, try this instead.
yeah, like you have to switch sides and listen to this from now on if you're around me.
But I
Not
think
that I
that's how
thought that way, but
it was for me too. I mean, for a lot of us, I think people would just, hey man, and check out this tape. Like I'm probably like skateboarding or something with somebody, and they're like, dude, check out this like DRI and fucking Angry Samoans or whatever it is. Like, and I'm like, I don't listen to that, dude. I listen to like Iron Maiden. They're like, no, check this out. Oh shit, this is good. Like, I like this. Like, you just
First heard it on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
oh shit, yeah.
Gives
I
you
still hear
something,
things
yeah.
to this day that I never heard before. You know, like on some of the other live casts, I'm like, damn, I never fucking heard this band, but I knew their name. You know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Husker Du? Like, I couldn't know their name. The guy that lived in my neighborhood had it on the back of his jacket.
Yeah, there's always like that guy with the fucking Husker Du fucking shirt. I'm like, what the hell is that, dude?
Yeah, there was a guy that lived in my neighborhood. He had Minor Threat on the back of his jacket.
I remember the Minor Threat.
And my stepfather goes, that guy's just a minor threat. And I thought that was funny later because of the song. 'Cause I was like,
amazing.
oh, that's weird that he said it that way. Because I swear he said it that way. He goes, that guy's just a minor threat. And then years later, that song hit me, and I was like, what the fuck? My stepfather had no idea what he just said right there. So that was cool. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you coming on. We could probably talk for another 16 hours.
Yep.
But this has been an episode of Death Metal Podcast. Again, this has been dedicated towards collectors and people that collected flyers, records, fanzines. I'm going to outro with a couple extra pieces I have. Alexis, I appreciate you for coming on and everything you showed
Anytime.
us. Really cool stuff.
Had a great time.
Dennis, too, man. Excellent
yeah.
fucking stuff. All the stories, everything that you both told were amazing. I hope we could do this again.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I
have,
didn't even show any of my flyers hardly, but
I know I have. Fuck, dude. Like I said, I could just reach to the right and like be like, here you
Yeah.
go. You know?
part 2 coming up.
There's a lot of stuff here,
Right.
and it's difficult to encapsulate it here, even, you know. So it's like, you know, some of the stuff that I showed too with the flyers, I had scanned in a more high res because I was gonna do like a website or show it on a website, and maybe it just never made it there, you know. So then eventually, I still have all the paper too, you know, but I'm just like, I don't even know. There's so many. I don't know. I have too much stuff. That's about it.
No,
I don't know. Yous are probably in the same scenario.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'd have to say we probably are.
Hey, John, what's up, brother? Nice that you made it, man. You're going to be on the next episode, my man.
Yeah.
So, appreciate you too, Stefan Goldberg. Pleasure to see you tonight. And thank you, at Austin. I know you're a hard collector and you have the Zizmo box set because you fucking showed it on my thing. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that checks this out. Yeah, this was an awesome show. And it was different because, like, we talk about, like, a different subject. And I don't want to play music all the time on here. I want to talk to people. And because I feel like I learned something, too.
Yeah.
From both of you. So that to me means something. So it's either I learned something from the guests or I learned something from the chat. And then I feel like, all right, that's my dictionary of the day thing, you know?
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I'm going to look at that later and check it out, you know?
Hell yeah.
So I appreciate you. We're going to go off. You two can hang out. This has been Death Metal Podcast. I appreciate everybody who tunes in. Next Saturday, we'll probably have another episode on something. And then tune in. Just watch my Instagram for announcements and all that. Instagram. No, it's not that one. I don't fucking know. It's Death Metal Podcast. Just subscribe to shit. And like it and all that stuff, because then it raises up the shit for whoever. All right. Appreciate everybody that comes in and comes through. Cheers, brother.
Thanks for watching, guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Later.
it.
Bye.
Bye.